coach in the pre-game with you, David. Talk about Dan Houston, freeing him up at half-back and maybe have Josh Dacos spending more time in the middle tonight.
Yeah, he needs to deliver, doesn't he? It's as simple as that. A high-price recruit. He's coming in to be a kicker off half-back, to be the architect of their scoring drive from half-back. We've known Collingwood to be a high handball team from there, and the two haven't really coexisted. We haven't seen Dan at his best, but what a good time to get started. Round 22, Thursday night footy, Steele's 350th.
Yeah, it was fascinating that he talked about...
What a good time to get started.
I don't think Dan Houston's calling for the ball enough. He's going to be half-back by himself tonight with Dacos on ball.
Here come the Hawks. Currently 7th on the ladder, 13 wins, 7 losses, but one game in front of the Dogs, who are in 9th. They lose tonight, the Hawks. They have to roll Melbourne and then beat Brisbane at home to lock up a spot in the finals if things go as you would expect. So, if not their biggest game of the season, it's pretty close to it. Yeah,
it certainly is, and they go with the 4 toils again on what is a game that they need to win to be there in September. It's interesting, last week Cal Shadir was the player that was subbed out of the 4 keys. We didn't know what Sam Mitchell was thinking with the 4, if we back it up, and he has done that again. They only got 2 goals out of Lewis and Chol combined last week. Neither player had more than 10 possessions. Jack Gunston is the difference at the moment for Hawthorn. He kicked 4 goals, 1. He's 5th in the Common Medal at the moment. So I'm fascinated to see how those 3 young keys go again, and if it's something that Sam Mitchell can continue to pursue. 2
big recruits, Battle and Barris, in the back line. Barris, his position has been discussed ad nauseum. How have you seen his season, Kingy?
Yeah, pretty solid. I think he's more of a spoiler than an intercept marker, and there's a perfect template there that we saw last week. Harris Andrews for the Brisbane Lions. Every time Collingwood pointed long down the line, Harris said, "This is my ball. This is my responsibility." Well, tonight that has to be Tom Barris. He has to see that point and say, right, I know what's up for grabs here. I have to diffuse this problem that's coming. If you can, then your smalls can go to work. And you can take away a lot of Collingwood's game. They want to crumb this ball. They want to get numbers to this ball and get their corridor handball game going. If you can, do as Harris Andrews did last week, and diffuse wide or take intercept mark, then I think you can take away their scoring profile. Then it all comes down to what you're doing with Nick Dacos. So why can't this man do it? There's no physical reason, there's no structural reason why tonight he just can't be the man they went and got at the end of last year to take them to a final series.
So much on the line tonight. The sub, Bruce, comes back into the side. He is a sub for the Hawks, and Long is the sub for the Pies. Quick break here. It is Collingwood taking on Hawthorn. Thursday night footy. So much is at stake. And some of the biggest stars in the game will be out on the MCG in the next 3 minutes. Don't go anywhere. You're watching it all right here on your home of footy box.
You're watching Thursday night footy on Fox. Brought to you by Ford Everest. Conquer the weekend. What are you doing?
G'day folks, and welcome in, of course, Thursday night footy action. And we have got the mighty Hawks taking on the mighty Magpies here at the MCG. Of course, a chilly night here at the MCG. It's only 7 degrees here in Melbourne. Hey, Shouty Tine, the famous. What's going on? Of course, for the team lineups tonight, I tell you what, we're going to have a look at the ladder in a minute of moments. We'll show you just what is at stake for both of these teams tonight. Of course, let's have a look at the ins and outs for Hawthorn. For the Hawks, Giath comes back. Luke Bruce coming into the side. And, of course, Harry Morrison going out for the Hawks with Will Day. Big out there for the Hawks. Luke Bruce is the sub. And, of course, for the mighty Magpies this evening, coming in, Billy Frampton, Tom Mitchell, Jeremy Howe, of course, strengthening the back line there with Frampton and Howe. Tom Mitchell going into the centre. Be a big asset there to the Pies in the centre. Going out, of course, though, Charlie Dean, Bobby Hill. Well, they said he's got gastro, but he's got the night off. Olive Markov going out. Ned Long is the sub. Handy sub there for the Maggies, as with the Hawks. Of course, the milestone games for this evening. We've only got 2 of them, and of course, that's Harry Perryman of Collingwood celebrating his 150th game. And of course, the little champ from the Magpies still side bottom, 350 games. I think they said there was only about the 22nd player to reach 350 games in the history of AFL. So that is fantastic. There are your squads for this evening's game. Should be an absolute ring-a-ding-ding game tonight, folks. I tell you what, there's a lot on the line tonight. Just having a look at the ladder, where these two teams sit. Of course, we are in round 22 of the season. Only 3 games remaining before we head in on to the finals. And, of course, Collingwood sitting there second on the ladder. Equal points, of course, dropping last week off top to the Adelaide Crows. Collingwood sitting there after 20 games, played 115, lost 5, sitting on 60 points. Same as Adelaide on top of the ladder, 130.8 their percentage. They want to keep that up and about if they can. And of course, Hawthorn sitting down there in 7th position. Hawthorn got a lot to play for tonight, just like Collingwood. Collingwood can take the top spot again if they win tonight. And of course, if Hawthorn win tonight, well, they remain in the top 8. They remain in the top 8. If Hawthorn lose, they could be out of the 8 after this round. Of course, the Giants still on the same points. Gold Coast and Hawks all on the same points. Western Bulldogs, I tell you what, they're right there to take a spot in the top 8. And, of course, if Hawthorn lose tonight, Western Bulldogs win. The Bulldogs will be in. Hawks will be out. Whew, I tell you what, the Hawks, well, they could climb the ladder. They could jump up into 5th spot if they win tonight. But I tell you what, there's a lot to play for both sides. Hawthorn trying to stay in the top 8. Hawthorn and Collingwood, of course, needing to win to cement their top spot in the top 4 and get a home double chance. They want that home final, that double chance. That is for sure. Do the Magpies. I'll tell you what, it's a big game happening out there tonight. And, of course, it all starts in a couple of minutes. Let me just reload that up, see if the worm is up and about. That shows us that we are not too far away. Not too far away with game starting. All right, there we go. There we go. All right, folks, we are going to head back down to some live commentary now, and they'll run us into the game where the Hawthorn take on the might of the Collingwood Football Club. It's all on the line tonight, folks. This could be a game-defining game in the season of these two clubs.
Good form without getting the points necessarily, so the season's in our hands. We've got 3 games to go. We'll win those. See you in September.
7th versus 2nd. See you in September. Will the Hawks get there? Will the Pies finish top 2, top 4? So many answers will be provided tonight. A cool but still night at the MCG, and welcome in one of the great spots inside the MCG commentary box. You've got Matt Hill very close to his monitor, by the way. Beside me, you've got Jack Rewald and David King. Kingy, 3 of the last 4. A concern for the Pies or just a bump in the road as September beckons?
You wouldn't write them off. I mean, there's too much experience in this lineup, 20 players that have played 100 games or more out there tonight, but they do need to find other ways to score that don't involve necessarily Nick Dacos or that handball corridor game. They've been wanting more creativity. We might see it tonight. Let's
get down on the boundary. Talk about creativity. You've got Brad Johnson and Eddie Betts.
And Jack Ginnivan in tonight's game as well, Howie, which is going to be fantastic to watch again. A man that has been in great form in recent times. And what I've liked, we love his celebrations, of course, and we love what he does, and it's something new every week. But if we have a look at the serious side of Jack Ginnivan and what he's been able to produce this season so far has been outstanding, because he was under pressure at the start of the year. His form early on wasn't great. He was dropped, had to go back, learn a lesson, and it's how you respond as a young player in the lineup. The way he's responded has been outstanding. He's in great form. He's working harder than I've seen him work in a game of footy. He's up and down the ground. His combination with Dylan Moore has been outstanding. I've loved his season.
Yeah, he even looks fitter. So, like I said, he's getting up the ground. He's losing his defender. And he's a big-time player. He loves playing in these big games, especially against Collingwood. The last 2 games he played versus his old side, he had 31 disposals, 3 goals and 2 goals in the other one. So he's in some really good form.
Now, you might have a little bit of a heads up on what celebration he's going to go with tonight. Is that right?
I don't have a heads up. I spoke to him before the game, and I just kind of did that little swagger walk, and I said, Jack, what have you got for us tonight? And he just stood there and rubbed his tummy and he goes,
Ooh.
and I was like, oh, that's a bit interesting. Is he hungry? What is he going to do?
I don't know. Well,
does he want a burger deal like you, Jono?
He might get
what it is.
He might get a full feed of goals tonight. We don't know, Howie, but it's going to be fascinating, of course. Big game of footy. Conditions at ground level are spot on.
Can't wait for it. Great to see Steele side bottom tossing the coin and winning it for the Pies. Jeremy Howe comes back in since round 18. He hasn't been running out with it. And they've had bags of goals kicked on them, the Collingwood defenders in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, they have, and they've also been exposed. Plain and simply, the numbers are that Collingwood are a two-goal better side defensively when Jeremy Howe plays. But I think it's more than that. He gives them structure. They've been exposed by key forward. Patrick Voss kicked 6 against them. Logan Morris kicked 6 last week. Young Henry Smith bobbed in for 3 as well. Billy Frampton comes back, so that gives them another string to the bow down back. But certainly, I think Darcy Moore is the captain. I think that Jeremy Howe is the general in the back line.
Interesting to hear Sam Mitchell, again speaking to you, David, talking about maybe a bit more pace through the middle, and you've been calling for Nick Watson for some centre bounce time. Do we see it tonight?
Well, they need some magic in the middle, there's no doubt about that. They've become a little bit vanilla in the middle of the ground, the Hawks. 5, 3 and 2 centre bounce attendances the last 3 weeks of football. They need more from him, but they need more from him in front of goals as well. Against the top 8 teams this year, they've played 8 games, the Hawks, and he's only kicked 9 goals. So they need him to fire tonight. He's their energy.
So the crowd continues to build. What a big night it is. Thursday night football at the G. It's virtually a grand final for the Hawks. And a big night for the Pies as well. The Coliseum looks magnificent in Melbourne tonight, and away we go. So the first tap one down by Cameron. Josh Dacos cleverly to the goey. Back to Pendlebury. First foray forward for Collingwood. It's a wide one. Leading out is Jaff. He takes a bit of contact up against defensive 50 and then hatched it in. Umpire says he'll have it.
Oh, well, that was definitely holding the ball there. Wasn't paid. Interesting, Nick Dacos starts on the bench. Josh Dacos in the middle.
CJ back at the side for the Hawks. Meek and Cameron. And towards Warple, who started as sub last week. Didn't really work for the Hawks. Out of wing ball down towards Watson. Maynard's got the job there.
We saw Brisbane play with the half forwards playing right up the ground alongside stoppage, or right as the extras, if you like, extra midfielders with some success. Let's see if the Hawks do that.
So Cameron, Meek works his way to the front. They nullify each other, and it's going to be a free kick going to the Pies. So it's Cameron who goes short. Crisp kick inside 50. Mychek wrestling at the back. Barris, who was touched off the ball. Hack kick, it's going to work onto the chest of Lewis.
If it was good management or good luck, but it works out. The kick from Barris. Lewis puts it in a turnover situation. Newcomb and Howe collide in front of the benches. They're both down. Howe looks worst of all. Newcomb holding his head. Big clash, back to that shortly. The Hawks looking to go inside 50 through wide, but it's cut off.
Yeah, got to stop the game. Got to stop the game. He's out.
Oh, Jeremy Howe has not moved.
So back into the side for the first time since round 18. Such an important player. There was a ball positioned directly between the two of them. Newcomb cannon into Howe coming in the opposite direction. And it was an enormous clash between the two.
Yeah, it's a car crash. I mean, credit to both players. How he body lined the ball. Newcomb put himself in harm's way. Incredibly brave, and he just had a head clash there. It's sickening to watch. But this is what these guys subject themselves to at the highest level. Clash at that speed.
That's the brutal fact of AFL football. Both players contesting the ball.
Umpires are just checking who took the mark. It was Perriman.
Just remember, these guys, they get the very best of care. Unbelievable medical expertise out there, and tough to watch for family and friends at home. But this is what these guys do.
Our thoughts are with Jeremy Howe and his family, who'll be watching on. The game will progress very quickly. So Ned Long is the sub, and you'd imagine he comes straight into the game.
Yeah, it's good to see that no one's in an absolute rush here as well. Like, Jeremy Howe didn't move for a good 45 seconds there. Both sides will find their huddles and just reconvene. Only a minute 12 into the game.
And John Newton has just gone downstairs as well with the doctors. The Hawks doctors just had a close look at the vision as well. and obviously noticed the Jai and had a head clash. So he is now headed downstairs with the Hawks doctors to be assessed as well.
Groans around the MCG as the crowd's just seen the replay for the first time.
And really difficult to watch if you're a teammate of Jeremy Howe's right now. The emotional impact that can have. You know, they're almost family, these guys. You spend so much time with them. You see one go down like this, and it has to impact that group that's huddling in the middle there. You know, both parties, really. One thinking about Jai and one thinking, obviously, about Jeremy.
Great mates, of course, with Still Sidebottom has played a lot of footy for him, and in knowing how he just loves playing in milestone games. Missed out on Still Sidebottom's 300th game when he was injured, I think, with his broken arm.
And King, you say this could have an impact, positive or negative, do you think?
Well, sometimes it's hard to stay focused in the short term when you see one of your great mates go down like this. You lose concentration for the game, because in reality there's a greater price being paid right now.
Craig McRae on the headset there, no doubt. He's already starting to put a plan in place with the Collingwood defensive line coach on what it looks like without Jeremy Howe. They haven't had him for a while. A lot's going to go on to the shoulders of Darcy Moore. Billy Frampton, who's come back into the side here. See that brutal clash again.
Just a clash of heads, both players body lining the football. Completely accidental, and no case to answer in terms of the MRO or whatnot.
We flip to the other side of the equation. Newcomb down, we believe, with an HIA test with a head clash as well. What that looks like for Hawthorn's midfield.
Completely a side note, but the planning with Jordan De Goey probably goes out the window now when you lose your sub so early. And these are the risks you take with your sub planning. And they may have wanted to get 80 minutes into Geordie. Well, that now makes a change.
All the Collingwood players en masse are walking across to their teammates and giving them some words of encouragement, no doubt a pat.
And so lucky it was close to the benches as well. The doctors were out to Jeremy Howe that quick. It was great that he was able to get treatment so quickly after such a big clash.
Still a little bit of time for the stretcher to get off. So as a player now, the leaders are so critically important. That the emotional roller coaster you can ride with this with both teams is that a stop in play so early in the game, you've really sort of had a chance now to reset. No doubt they would have spoken about the messaging, probably wouldn't have changed too much from the last message they would have got before the ball went down before the game. And big ramifications. Two very important players, we believe, will be potentially, well, certainly for Howe's situation, we won't see Jeremy Howe again tonight, and Joe Newcomb obviously in that HIA protocol now as well.
So it's been about 5.5 minutes since a ball has been kicked, as we just hope that all is okay with Jeremy Howe, and Perryman has the football for Collingwood.
In game 150, a hush around the MCG. Game resumes, so there'll be some restructuring required, especially, David, for Collingwood. If Long comes in, how do they shore things up down back?
Well, it's just a challenge, isn't it? I mean, they can instantly throw back at Josh Dacos and put the extra midfielder in, not a problem.
Meek juggled it down in the end of Ward. Hack kick, bouncing ball towards forward 50, and then more tap. The Wizard snappled it. Grabbed his wand and pressed it through for a
goal. Awesome start from the Wizard, and that's exactly how you draw it up. Come from high up the field, charge back. We saw the Brisbane Lions do it to the Collingwood back six last week, and that's the perfect play for him. Told you well just to ensure that ball got to ground and caused a little bit of chaos. A surge clearance from stoppage, and all of a sudden, every contest becomes critical. Pointer loses his way. He loses contain of the Wizard, and he's off and gone. What a quality finish that is. He goes one side of the pack, the Wizard goes the other. Darcy Moore tried to tap it boundary side, thinking he'd have some support there. Not to be. What a start.
Yeah, it's a moment Isaac Quainer would like back. You can just see there. Nick Watson's as good as any player at turning the head and getting back to goal. Jack Ginnivan has been the one to come up to stoppage as a small forward early on.
Well, number 29 for the season. Quality finish. Free kick in the middle. On the way of Josh Dacos. Houston runs past with the overlap. Option's not there. Dacos. Again in the middle. Plays on. Sends the ball deep forward. My checks in good position. Spills out the back. D'Ambrosio. Round the body. Clearing defence. Moore. Plays it nicely. Back by hand to Pendlebury. Look for his great mate steal. But that didn't quite go where we thought.
So what Scott Pendlebury was trying to do there. Obviously clear voice from Steel Sidebottom. Just the deft touch had a little bit too much power on it.
So Meek wins that battle. Bit hot for Nash. Ambrosio. Skies one. It's just a bouncing ball out of play. And a throw in.
You can see the plan. Surge kick from stoppage, just get it forward. Let's just take territory, fight the fight 30, 40 metres down the path rather than stay in pressure and allow Collingwood to get their hunt on.
So if you missed the opening moments, Howell and Newcombe in a horrible clash. Howell off the ground on the cart, Newcombe being assessed. Barra straight lines it. Warple needs to do the same. Picks it up, gets it away from Dacos. Mitchell, Houston. Back to Membry. Houston getting involved early. The Pies would like to see that. Jaff comes back. Lipinski brings it to ground. Pressure comes from the Hawks.
Dan Houston getting involved early. But the key that I think Hawthorn have gone to town is they're only playing 4 forwards at the moment. 2 high forwards coming up, getting around that stoppage.
Yeah, Dylan Moore and Jack Ginnivan at this stage rolling right up high, but they're leaving the dangerous Watson on Quainer around the wing area.
So Meek got it down, and then Josh Takos having some heavy contact there, and a few of the Pies players not too happy with the treatment. Up it goes again. Meek almost tapping it to himself. Josh Dacos along the ground, trying to progress it, and that ball going nowhere. Blocked away.
Nick Dacos starting on the bench and still on the bench. Why?
Not sure. Not sure I would have him on the ground from go to woe, but clearly Craig McRae sees maybe the reliance and the evolution of Josh Dacos on ball more important tonight.
Started well, Josh. Another big tackle applied by Nash, who was involved in the previous incident. Houston again. Back to Josh Dacos. Measures the ball inside. Barras comes back and takes a nice mark. The side bottom is floated back. He gives it all the way back to Sicily, true fullback.
Sicily, Moore. Out wide. Jaff back in the side. Uses battle. And then his long kick along the boundary line. And in seat 1A, Cameron easily on his chest.
Barris Membry is the big match-up tonight. He's trying to just block his run and not allow Tom to get there to defuse these high balls.
Cameron had a great year. Drops it forward to that contest. Barris somehow steals it but gives away a free kick. Goes the way of Membry.
Yeah, that's the battle that's going to control whether Collingwood can get through or not.
Leeds come up towards him. Membry elects to go into the pocket, hook the kick. Not where he was looking for, and Jaff's there waiting.
Jaff repeats the dose out to Moore. Kicked 3 goals against the Pies in round 5 last year. Half back. Initially was going to detour laterally, but then goes down the line towards Ginnivan. Dropped it, but Watson was there. Sole goal kicker so far. Inboard, Ward, Moore, Eamon, Jaff. Jaff scampers around the back line. And now he goes laterally, and Impey's got it for the Hawks.
Hawks looking to make the ground pretty big and doing a good job of it. Impey went to dash back inside, lost his footing. Hardwick, now Warple. He's got a man ahead of him, but he's caught with the footy. Great tackle. Caught in two minds there, Whirlpool. But Schultz ran him down.
Yeah, excellent chase there from Lockie Schultz. Just remained in the play. Could have given up and allowed Hawthorn to get easy overlap.
To see Hawthorn here not allowing the switch. They're guarding the corridor switch.
And Nick Dacos now on the park. Kick towards half-foot. Elliott's comes from a mile back. De Goey's hands to Houston. Houston spreads it wide, looking for Chris, but Ginnivan was there to intercept. Ginnivan did well. His hands looking for Jaff. He's under pressure. Quick to Moore. Ward, D'Ambrosio. Hawks think their way out of it pretty well through the middle. Moore pulled to D'Ambrosio, then to Meek, who had to half volley it. Tries to palm it off. Now Warple's ready. Trundles it inside 50. No mark Frampton. Watson again. Watson with the crumbs. Watson again.
Well, he's been the most important player on the ground early in this first quarter, the Wizard Watson. You can see the fans loving it there with their Wizard hats on. It was the ability just for Hawthorn to sort of make something up. The pressure was there from Collingwood. You can see them bring it through the middle part of the ground, multiple handballs. All they needed to do was get it free. No one wanted to kick it at any point, but finally the ball was put on the boot. And if you're going to play back on Nick Watson, you've got to impact the ball there. Great work from Mitch Lewis, but small forwards need to be there, and that's exactly where Nick Watson was.
And Jackie actually sprinted to the bench. They stopped him right on the boundary line. Said, get back out there. You're the hot player at the moment. We don't want you off the ground.
And he's causing all sorts of headache for Isaac Quainer. They've got to look at that matchup straight away. He's losing contain. You just need composure. Collingwood are going to bring the heat. Lloyd Meek then just stepped through and said, no, just calm the farm. Let's take our time here. Well done, big man.
Hawks with the opening two, both from the boot of Watson. Mitchell stopped in the middle, now Long subbed in for Howe. So Howe out of the game, Long in. Warple's confronted by that man, jumps on the footy.
First time we've seen Nick Dacos involved in the ball. Uncharacteristic fumble there for the Collingwood champion.
Cameron to Nick Dacos, tried to quickly get it to Long, intercepted by Moore, couldn't get boot to ball. De Goey and then Houston working together. Ginnivan meets some contact by hand. Moore spreads it out wide at a scrimshaw. And now they work it around through Moore. It was Deer, in fact, and now battle. Ginnivan back out towards Deer. Back to Ginnivan. They're going nowhere fast. Now Sicily stops the rock, throws it on the boot. Quaynor couldn't mark it. Gunston's wobbly one inside 50. It's carried towards the square. Races on now. Lewis against Frampton. Lewis gets the handball away. Hot football in the pocket. Picked up by Sidey. And he's going to clear for the Pies.
Jeez, he was calm there, side bottom, under all sorts of pressure. 350 games of experience. All of a sudden they get it out in front of the Shane Warne. Stand wing. Hoskin Elliott's out in the long sleeves. Back to the champ. Sends it forward, turns it over straight to Scrimshaw.
And multiple numbers free ahead of the ball. Just a skill error there.
So Scrimshaw, out he goes to Ward. And inboard to Impey now, blazing through the middle. And that kick wide. Gunston's going to be at the back. It's too hot.
So this game right now is about Hawthorn handling the Collingwood heat, and they have at half-back. Jack's been fantastic, finding a way to step through and take the ball from inside to out. Moore playing as that half-forward coming up. He's had 8 disposals already. Tactically, Mitchell on top.
John Newcombe, as you can see, back up on the bench for the Hawks.
Good news for the Hawks through Gunston. Watch out for Watson. He's hunting around the pack. Deer tries to clear it in his direction. The Pies come, including McStay. Maynard, a hurried kick out of defence. Scrubs along towards the wing of the MCG. Schultz, aim on, boundary.
They just look so vulnerable at the moment, the Collingwood back six, when the ball is on the ground. Hawthorn's small forwards, really damaging.
The quick kick from stoppage, the surge kick, is causing some problems for the Collingwood back six. Need to take dominant position, need to stand in front of their Hawthorn forwards.
Holding the man, Collingwood,
So the champ, Nick Dacos, gets the free kick. 32 touches the last time. They played 10 weeks ago. Now this is a dangerous kick in the middle of the ground. Hoskin Elliott got a little shove. Sicily goes himself. Chris, quick hands, Perryman. Out to Pendlebury, couldn't control it, but just tapped it to the advantage of Myercheck. Great awareness. Myercheck sets sail for home, and it's the first for the Pies.
Communication's key. Communication is key, and Hawthorn lost that on defence there. Jaff came back and intercepted his own teammate, his captain, James Sicily. And from there, the ball was on the ground, and the Collingwood players were able to get around. You can see it here, just had an easy turnover mark for James Sicily, and then pressure here, tapping it on, remaining in the game. It's 1 or 2 handballs. That forward handball as well. Brody Myercheck, you've got to be clean in big games, and he was clean and finished truly. Just that one there. A good handball doesn't need to always hit. Handball to advantage. That's crafty from Brody Myercheck, 193 centimetres to pick the ball up and kick that round the body.
Hawks kicked the first 5 versus the Crows in the loss last week. They kicked the first 2 through Watson. Myercheck responds, and now the Pies are away. Joel has his first look in the ruck. Does nicely towards Warple. Screws it around on the right boot. Perriman in good position in front of McDonald as the recipient of the free.
Perryman. Out to Austin Elliott. Inboard. With Dacos. Able to paddle it around for the time being. Frampton. Very short to Perryman. And then down the spine to McStay, who had to work a little bit forward. Kicked 4 against the Hawks in 2021, and he's kicked that straight down the throat of Ward.
Hawks once again looking to spread immediately. Lewis unloads it into the path of Chol. He's got Perryman for company. He can do all sorts of things, Marby, or Chol when he's on. Unusual things as well. And it's turned over by foot. And as far as Maynard with a low pierce, ball down the outer side to Myercheck.
Crisp running for him. Just back pedals and then was pushed off his kick. Tumbled it to Nick Dacos. Found a little bit of space. Did it well. Pendlebury over the top to Houston from 49 metres out. It's a bit of a bomb and offline.
Yeah, I was Craig pre-game about speed on ball. And at the moment, you can see Collingwood trying to get speed on ball, but just getting caught in between 2 minds there. Could have been an easy kick over the top. Just used to playing that long down the line game. They need to be quicker tonight.
They're getting out the back, the Collingwood forwards. That linking play you're talking about at speed is causing the Hawk back 6 some problems.
Houston's had 6, 2 kicks, 4 handballs, leads the Pies. Prevalent early. Big fist comes from Moore. Warple, there's Houston again. Illustrates the point. Tap forward, aim on. Over the blue shoots.
Yeah, you just love to see Darcy Moore taking that mark. You get 2 fists to it, you can take the mark. That comes down to an element of confidence.
So, less than 10 to go in absorbing first quarter. D'Ambrosio off a step, spiralled it back into the middle. Crisp, held it bounce. Grabbed by Jaff and won the football, Jaff. Here go the Hawks. McDonald through the centre, runs and goes, penetrating ball towards Gunston, sits up for Gunston, he gathers, he's got more there for measure, and then Moore traps it in.
Well, that's 2 big contests we've seen in that forward 50 there in that forward pocket, but Hawthorn just exploding to the middle of the ground, using their hands through the middle part and exposing Collingwood in the forward 50.
High pressure game of footy in front of a nice crowd at the MCG early. Lewis.
Jat's been good. He's been really good in some critical one-on-ones. He's covering the ground. He's all alone 30 from goal in the corridor.
Lewis in the ruck. Throwing it on the boot, Houston. High one. Marked by Barris. So he goes short. D'Ambrosio. Now Ginnivan leads, ignores him.
He's got to think his way through this. He'll be looking for a short, square it back up.
So it gives a little bit of ground to Impey.
So many numbers inside D50 at the moment for Collingwood.
Sicily's lurking. See off to the right of Impey. Provides a block, and Impey just unloads it. Chol will be the fly, but in front, this young man that just seems to pop up and take contested marks by the name of Xiaomi.
Yeah, he's got elite hops, Xiaomi. And to be fair, gets an easy run at the ball here. Collingwood were exposed in the air last week by Logan Morris and Henry Smith. And tonight, Xiaomi has done that straight away.
Rules in the background of the number 3, Newcomb, coming back on the ground. Deer subbed out last week. 7 goals for the season from directly in front. Sneaks it home. Positive start for the Hawks. They got 3 of the first 4.
So it's a defensive system that relies on the wingman to roll back and assist, and he just got caught one-on-one there. Deer versus Crest, who doesn't really want to be trapped in that position, but you can see they want to free up a player in behind. It's Perryman that's loose on that occasion, but they really want it to be, you can see there McStay, they want him to be free, but he just gets engaged one-on-one. It's not exactly the plan. Great location for the kick. Joel was about to launch, but Deer was too good, and that's why you pick the tools.
And you can see there's feedback coming back from Chris to Maynard, who's supposed to be on Xiaomi. I love the fact that Hawthorn crept the ball back towards the middle part of the ground.
It's the wingman. They don't want the wingman to have to do that job in the air.
And Craig McRae will be watching that at the moment because the wings are going behind the backs from a Collingwood point of view.
So, good start for the Hawks. Newcomb, D'Ambrosio. Sicily. They were bearing down on him, a short kick that wasn't the required, so Battle has to do a little 360 and it's a shallow kick side bottom.
He was looking for Lewis, didn't have the coverage. He missed the 350, only the second pie to get there, turns it over. A rare mistake from the champ, gives it to Moore, gives the chance for the Hawks to build off the wing. Back to Mitch Lewis, he's roaming far and wide as one of the tools. Ginnivan. Left foot floater going forward. Chol needs to bring it to ground. Perryman takes the ground.
That's the risk you take if you're playing on Nick Watson. You can impact in the air because Watson won't go, but he will be there at the ground if it comes to ground.
Perryman's relatively short and high kick, and the Pies are going to get a free kick here. It's going to McStay.
The Hawks will guard the corridor here. That they're refusing to allow them to switch the ball. You can see McStay's eyes. He wants to take the corridor and get real aggressive. This goes long.
So McStay floating left footer over the head of Myercheck. He's going to earn himself a free kick here, Myercheck. Kicked the sole goal so far for the Pies.
Anyway, a couple already has Barris. Now the switch is on. Cranel, the bright pink boots. Pokes it forward to DeGoey, who's got loose.
So we've seen Collingwood with 2 modes. We've seen them be aggressive. About 5-6 weeks ago, they did a 3-week patch where they kicked to the points of the centre-half forward square there, the centre square, not long down the line wide. They're mixing it up a little bit, the Pies. I like it.
Just his 7th match of the season for the explosive number 2. He's kicked 6 goals. From right on 50, starts to bring it back. Not quite. Oh, play on. Everyone stopped. Then there's a whistle. Membry kicks the goal.
This guy's clear the area.
Well, we probably should review that, shouldn't we?
I don't know if it was the poster from Membry or it already hit the post. Nevertheless, it's a point.
So Sicily kicks to the congestion. Deer flew. Loves getting cement. And Ginnivan's little toe poke virtually worked. Watson had plenty of company, though. Hawks fighting hard for it. They have numbers. Ginnivan, quick hands. D'Ambrosio. Now Ward's going to thread his way through 2 Pies. And then a long ball inside 50. Pendlebury went, the fist didn't work. Newcomb. Now Chol, if he can pick it up, doesn't matter. He went on the ground. Through from behind.
You can just say from a Hawthorn point of view, it is forward football at the moment. Forward at all cost. Mabior Chol just dropped the soda to run in there. Nearly the clumsy goal.
He had McDonald all alone. He just had to tap it wide. They look threatening when they go forward, the Hawks.
John Ralph will bring us an update if you're just joining us on the incident between Howe and Newcomb, which saw Howe taken off in the Medicart.
And there's Tom Barris again, getting down the line. Paid the free kick, but Sicily took the mark.
A little low slider forward from Sicily. Darcy Moore, bread and butter.
So Moore has time for a bounce. Draws Quader. He dodges Moore and runs to the 50. Bounces interesting. Pummeled it to Houston, my hand. Perryman through the middle. And then a belting kick inside 50. Long in from the side. Bobbled out of his armpits towards Pendlebury. Now Hoskin Elliott back to DeGoey. DeGoey now sizes them up. Chips for goal and puts it through. Had his time managed last week. They love him on the park though, and he slots their second.
It's a great game. Both teams challenging, probing, playing a bit of corridor football. Quaynor's run, he didn't have all the answers in flight, but he made them up along the way. Houston got involved. It was absolute corridor. Again, that commits Tom Barras to an opponent. And the body work there was exceptional. They probably could have taken the chest mark with Long. I think it was who dropped it, but this man's building. Jordan DeGoey is building. He's looking terrific this evening. He's on the move, playing forward and in a centre bounce.
That's why Darcy Moore has to mark it. You called one earlier in the quarter where he got the double fist to it and had a chance to mark. He marks that one. He gets it to Quainer with a run and bounce out of defence and starts to set the Pies up from the back half.
Importantly, Dan Houston up to 10 possessions, 2 score involvements and 2 inside 50s, clearly calling for the ball and getting up the ground off the half-back line.
High quality game of Thursday night footy to kick the round off. Watson, there we see him in the middle trying to burst his way through. They get the little fella and nail him.
See, he's a bit stiff there.
So Mitchell comes up with it. Maynard's probing ball, marked by Cameron. So the Pies pressing late in the first quarter.
Watch Broden Maynard here.
Gives it straight to Maynard, good call, and then a little chip towards side bottom. So side bottom, who kicked 2 last week. He's kicked 2 the last time they played the Hawks, and of course it's his landmark game. 26th player to clock 350. Kevin Bartlett being the first in 1981. And this will bring the house down if Steele side bottom can slot it to put them in front in this fascinating first quarter. Side bottom, that's his assignment. Comes around and he's kicked the belly of the football and it's going through for a behind.
12 tackles to 6 in favour of Collingwood, and we saw that at the centre bounce there. Their pressure's been terrific. Hawthorn handling on occasion and not on others.
Hawks kick the first 2 through Watson. And the Pies are steady. Free kick for the Hawks.
As Cowshideer again. It's got Pendlebury sitting on the back row. It's never a good sign. So he's getting a bit of work. But Cowshideer, just his vertical jump at the moment is challenging the Collingwood defence.
Delayed the hand pass, didn't make it easy to Scrimshaw. Onto the left footer, D'Ambrosio. Down towards Gunston. Watson picks it up brilliantly. And you get a free for a trip. And he'll line up for a third if he licks.
There's some good crumbs available for the little man. I mean, his tools have at least brought the ball to ground, and he is just hunting.
Chock full of confidence. Kick the opening 2. You're right on his range here, Watson.
Yeah, he's not great from outside 50. 0, 2 and 2 complete on the fulls from outside 50 this season.
Collingwood aware of the little run to the right here as well. Jordan McGoey there and Jamie Elliott.
Joel and Deer are deep. He drifts out now. It'll take his best. Slices it going for the distance. The big boys are down there. Scored it across the line.
He really is putting on a masterclass at the moment, just getting to front and centre crumbs. The Pies just don't have that defender that can go with Nick Watson.
This is where I'd love to see him in at stoppage. He's taking himself into corridor. When you're on fire like this, get near the footy.
So Meek goes himself and a standing tackle.
What's behind?
Umpire repeats the dose. Meek slapped it further that time. Heyman overran it. Elliott was there, grabbed by Impey. Impey's little snap round the corner is acute and over.
D'Ambrosio and Moore have had 10 apiece. Houston 10 for the Pies. Studying Watson, trying to keep an eye on the man moving around the ball. Spills free, could be in the game here. Deer! He does some exciting things for a young footballer.
I reckon he might have had just a little handball there. Sometimes coming up at the ball, you can see Hawthorn getting through the stoppage. You can just flick a really quick one to a runner, Cash Deer, turning and just throwing a boot at it.
Houston. Chris was calling forward in from the side, spoiled by Scrimshaw. Off hands Josh Dacos, set it out for Oscar Elliott, clever tap to Schultz. Schultz's kick's going to flirt with the boundary line. Oh, that's a good grab. Newcomb, who's come back onto the ground, has done some good things. Little chip into the middle, aggressive to Warple. Now, Nash to Scrimshaw, and he's going to get away with this. D'Ambrosio under a bit of pressure. Over the top he goes to battle. Now, again, it's Nash. High one towards the top of the square. Jath waits at the back, Charles at the front, and he was able to grab it, composes himself, snap last night again, side bottom with the saving grab.
Gee, that was brilliant on the wing. Hawks handling the heat. That's what we're talking about, getting the ball from inside to out, and you'll get a good look.
Sharp hands from the Hawks, and he gets as far as side bottom.
But it's constant. The pressure from Collingwood is always there. It's a great way to play. It's what's made them successful over the last few years, bringing the heat. Pressure only reaches 175, but it's been better than that. Their tackle pressure's been on tonight.
Hawks the number one pressure side in the comp. Meek. Cameron grabs it out of the ruck, only as far as Newcomb. His mate Warple. Very high ball. Watson to be outsized. Nearly snaffled.
That was unbelievable, John Newcomb. First 2 minutes of the game, he gets a head clash with Jeremy Howe. You see him just running back with the flight. Obviously, he's been cleared to play, but the courage there.
Cameron working his way to the front. Warhouse fresh airy. Warble got rid of it. Watson, quick hands. Newcomb snap. It's just going to bounce in the Chol direction. Bit of a hot football here. To go, he has to go in. He's grabbed by Charles Spillard. Then Moore got taken high, but was there a free kick in the meantime? There was.
Chol, great tackle. The raging bull, De Goey coming through. It's a hot footy. Didn't have a lot of time. He's not happy to him, but that's an elite tackle. Marbior doing the defensive acts in the forward 50. Terrific to see.
And this is going to be on the siren here, Kingy. So great start for the Hawks. He can go back from about 35 metres out directly in front.
Well, just on 30, so he's 15 goals, 4 points from inside 30. It's a slow run-up, but it's effective. Yes, how we have done it.
2 goals away from 150 in his career. So Chol, can he capitalise on how hard the Hawks have worked in the first quarter? Chol comes in. And that says it all.
Quarter time here. The Hawks kicked the first 2 through Watson. Pies responded. Hawthorn at 3-3-21. Collingwood 2-3-15. Up next, John Ralph will give you an update on Jeremy Howe after that big first incident in the opening exchanges here. The Hawks lead it by 6 points. AFLW Season 10 kicks off next Thursday night. Carlton, Collingwood, away they go.
Kick off the AFL's inaugural women's competition.
All right, folks, there we go. It's quarter time here at the MCG. Hawthorn 3-3-21 leading the Magpies 2-3-15. Welcome everybody in. Of course, we want to say good day to Tina's in the house. Yo, Pintado. Hey, brother, can you do me a favour and fart into the mic real quick? No, I don't think I can do that, but thanks for the suggestion. There we go. AFL Hawks, how you doing? Ryan, g'day, sir. Eddie G, what's going on? Squire Al's in the house, and of course, Albert was there as well. What's going on? I tell you what, it was a good high-pressure game in that opening term. Both teams putting on the pressure. Hawthorn, though, they did, well, for me, I think it was 55%, 45% Hawthorn's way in that opening term. Of course, Shoal missing an absolute sitter after the siren. He was about 15 metres out, pretty much directly in front. Wow, we faded left, through for behind. to the delight of the Collingwood supporters. It's just a 1-goal margin here at quarter time. And tell you what, the Pies run settled about a minute and a half into the opening term. Jeremy Howe went in for the ball. Of course, the Hawthorn player were coming from opposite directions. Big clash. Jeremy Howe knocked out on the ground for about 5 minutes, and then he finally got taken off. Didn't look good, though, for Jeremy Howe. I'm sure he'll miss next week. I think it's just next week or maybe the week after as well. We'll just have to wait and see for that. Hopefully all right for him. But big clash. It certainly disabled the Collingwood backline, having Jeremy Howe out of the action. Minute and a half into the opening term that happened. Not too good. All right, let's go and have a look at some of these goal scorers so far. Nick Watson's having a pretty good game so far, I tell you what. In and about the ball, causing a little bit of havoc there for the Magpies. He's kicked 2 goals. Kaushla Deer has got 1. And for the Magpies, Brody Myercheck, Jordan Ngoe, both singles for the Magpies. Disposal getters out on the ground there. And, of course, Dan Houston leads the way on 11. Ambrosia for Hawthorn, best for them on 11. Dylan Moore on 10. Josh Ward 9. Warple Ginnivan on 8. Sicily on 6. Next best for the Pies, Harry Perryman on 6. Of course, Nick Dacos started on the bench. He was on the bench for probably the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game and then came on. Let's just roll down a little bit. Jack Crisp there on 6. Who else we got there? We said Sicily. Nick Watson, there we go. He's had to 5 touches. Looking dangerous, though. 3 kicks, 2 handballs. A free kick given to him for no apparent reason, thanks to the umpires. Look, he didn't act for it. They just thought he was tripped, and he is certainly not tripped at all. 2 goals for him. Looking dangerous. Could be an impact player for sure for Hawthorn if he keeps continuing this way. As I said, it's a good high-pressure game here this evening. Jordan Ngoe, 5 disposals, 1 goal, 1. Nick Dacos, just the 5 touches in the opening term. Looking for him to spark up his game just a little bit as we roll on. There you go. Still side bottom's been in the action a little bit, although it doesn't look like it. 4 disposals. He's had 3 marks, though. Done some good work there. 4 kicks and the behind. Just missed the snap. Scotty Pendlebury on 4. Kaushla Deer looking pretty good in the air. 4 disposals. 2 kicks, 2 handballs. 1 goal, 1. As always, Chol looks reasonably well. All right, there are your player stats. We'll come and have a look at the team stats at half time. All right, let me just put this on for the Hawthorn supporters. That is the live ladder. So if Hawthorn win, they'll be up to 56 points, same as Fremantle. Collingwood will remain in the second. This is why, Addy G, this is why you want Collingwood to win tonight. So Freo stays a game clear. All these teams here, Brisbane, Geelong, Freo, Gold Coast, Giants, Western Bulldogs, they're all going for the Magpies tonight. Of course, with only 3 games to go in the home and away season, it's all about getting that spot in the top 8 and as best you can. All right, let's head back down to the ground. Commentators are there, and then they'll take us into the bounce of the ball for the second quarter, whereas the Hawks by 6 points.
Passion for Howe. Now, both sets of doctors did such a great job of getting the players off the ground. For Howe, it was on the Medicart. He was certainly alert. He was moving his arms and he was talking to those medicos. And so we're still awaiting a confirmation if he is sent to hospital for a scan or not. John Newcomb's collision with Howe is surely going to be assessed as a football accident. He chose to tackle, not bump. It is very different to Stephen May and Francis Evans. It is very different even to Liam Ryan, who ran headlong into Trent Rivers last week. He didn't even seem to protect himself there. But I think he does a very good job of wrapping up his opponent, as brutal as his collision was. And so Howe will miss not only tonight, but against Adelaide next week. And by the time he is playing in a qualifying or elimination final, it will be 1 game in 8 weeks for Jeremy Howe. Far from ideal preparation for a cutthroat final.
Both teams are set for the second quarter, Howie.
Yeah, certainly far from ideal. 1 game in 8 weeks potentially. But those 3 men there are really important to the Collingwood result tonight. Maynard having to play a little bit taller.
Well, it has a flow-on effect with Jordan Ngoe. I mean, he's played in that first term. He's ended up with 31 minutes of football. They've been trying to manage 22 minutes a quarter. 16 a break, then 6, and the reverse in the second, not to beat.
So the Hawks by 6. Free kick going to Hawthorn. You heard the words of the ump for a block. Big Lloyd the middle to Newcomb. Expect a few boos throughout the night and a few cheers as well. Wheels and goes. Long ball towards the hot spot. Up they go. Deer got a fingertip to it. More quick hands towards side bottom, and he walks it over.
And that's what 350 games of experience does. Just take that out nice and casually. No fumbles, make it look a little bit clumsy if you can. What a star he's been.
Meek engages with Cameron. Hawks deep in attack. Tries to ease his Collingwood opponent under it. Doesn't quite manage it. D'Ambrosio by Fendoff will go the way of Nick Dacos.
Straight away to Dacos now.
Looks like he got him in the throat there. Dacos sucking in a few big deep breaths.
Yeah, a bit slower, picking himself off the floor there. So now he takes his full measure. His kick, not that convincing. He had two pies ahead of him though, and Pendlebury with the mark. The first minute of the second quarter certainly not as frenetic or dramatic as the first, as Josh Dacos kicks it to Nick.
3 or 4 leaving runs then to get himself clear again. It's just amazing how this guy can generate so much possession.
For his 7th disposal, there's that point down the ground that Collingwood do frequently. Sicily looks like he's really getting back to his best, Jack.
Yeah,
it's another strong mark.
Yeah, he just is sitting off nicely. You can tell James Sicily's mark, like playing well, when he's shifting his opponent's hips. He puts them under the ball and goes back and takes relatively easy marks. That's the craft that James Sicily brings to this Hawthorn defence.
Lewis wanted to switch. Scrimshaw was really keen to get the ball across the face of goal. Deer with that leap. Frampton with the spoil.
See, Frampton just got a little bit of body on Cal Shadir there. He's had a relatively easy free run at Cal Shadir tonight. Some scenes of Jeremy Howe there. Looks like he's getting in the back of an ambulance. We'll get to John Ralph soon for the latest with that. But Cal Shadir extending at the ball, liking what he's doing.
Great to see him alert and awake down there, Jeremy Howe.
Josh Dacos picked up the smother, back to Chris. Josh Dacos' hands cut off by Ginnivan. His little 9 irons is going to float towards half forward, picked up by side bottom, who retreats back to Frampton, pushing for it hard. Schultz marks well.
On a long lead in front of the members, former Docker Schultz happy to give up ground.
Well, both teams are covering the corridor, and it's making it really difficult to counter-punch at speed. We've seen both parties get through 3 or 4 occasions the first term, but gee, it's a tough defensive night tonight.
8th disposal for Josh Dacos. Sends it down towards Barris. Ward in the right position. Amon. There's a bit of spread on the outer side. Lewis competes with Crisp, who does well not to give away a front on, although eventually the whistle comes. It was a delayed whistle.
Well, it's definitely there. But that's what Hawthorn have got off half-back, just those long, prodigious kicks, predominantly left-footers, that they can open the game up like that.
So, yeah, they're guarding the switch. They're not allowing you to get to the open side.
So Lewis, high ball. Deer at the back! Welcome to Air Deer.
This is what he does. When he gets a free run at it, he can elevate high. It was Maynard who dropped off there.
They provide a good jumping bag, Ruckman, as a rule.
He loves a bit of airtime, does Kel Shadir, as he'll come in and kick from 53. It's not quite going to get the trip. Pack right on the line. With one of the tallest men out there, marks it, Meek.
And that's a statement, because his opposing ruckman is trapped on the mark, rubbing the back of his head, because he's had a mark of the year contender taken on him. He said, well, I'm going deep. And just sheer size in the end is a great call, Matty. It's exactly what you want, the mindset of your ruckman. Get forward and attack the game.
So Lloyd Meek hasn't been that prolific in front of goal, with only 6 goals this year, but this will be the most important set shot of his year. And he converts. They're out to a 2-goal lead, the Hawks, early in the second quarter.
And it's a big blow. I mean, this ruck battle's huge, Jack. Cameron's had an excellent season. Meek's had a solid season, but you would think that that would have been spoken a lot of during the week. That's a great grab.
It is, and Lloyd Meek's last 2 weeks probably haven't been where he would have liked them to be, but I mean, this is where Collingwood got exposed last week. It was Logan Morris, it was young Henry Smith, Darcy Fort pushed ahead for the Brisbane Lions. They exposed them in the air. Tonight, in the first quarter, they've exposed them at ground level, and this is the aspect when you do play big key position players and you expect your ruck to get ahead of the ball. You can see him calling for it there. He has to challenge Darcy Cameron. And granted, he was on the mark there, and a great mark from Kaushadir. You'd expect better from Darcy Moore in that situation too.
Jeremy Howe have to get checked out, which means Long is in the game. After the incident with Newcomb in the early stages, there is Newcomb. Meek went for something a little bit fancy. McDonald, clever kick to Newcomb. Good aerialist is the man from Poowong. Further options wide, but he's looking more direct at the sticks. Hands it over to Impey, who's on his left. Doesn't really work out for Long, but it works out short to Dylan Moore. He worked that well, Impey.
Yeah, and so did Newcomb. He didn't want to waste the opportunity, so he just didn't want to blast it to the goal square. He knew he didn't have the journey in him, and Collingwood defensively are hard to get hold of close to goal as a rule. But that's just elite skill.
And Hawk in the All-Australian team last year, Dylan Moore, for goal number 18 of his campaign from directly in front. Dead straight, Dylan. Hawks out to a game high.
Sometimes it just takes a little moment of brilliance. There is that element of calm from John Newcomb. As Kingy mentioned, didn't want to waste the opportunity. You're in a really good spot to score when you're at the top of the 50-metre arc. You've got the whole 50 for your forwards to work. In the middle of the ground, just getting to work as well. Dylan Moore is the one we've been crying for to get into centre bounce, and he's in there doing his job.
Yeah, there's been a shift. There's no doubt about that. We've seen him go in for a couple. Watson was in for one early and got paid a free kick against for holding the ball. So we haven't sighted him back in the middle, but he's doing his work in the forward half at the moment. This is great coaching from Sam Mitchell. He's throwing the magnets around a little.
Game high, 18-point margin. Cameron catches it himself, tried to throw it on the boot, it was grabbed by Newcomb, had one arm pin, holding it. And Collingwood are off. Nick Dacos quickly towards the Myercheck direction. Scrimshaw are over him. Mark or free kick, take whatever you want.
It was too big and too strong, Brody Myercheck. You can see he's just a thick man through the midriff, and he just plonked himself in front of Jack Scrimshaw. Nick Dacos just needed to get it up to him and just cannot move. The big Tasmanian, just a great contested mark.
So looking for a quick reply, set shot for Brody Myercheck. Looking for his second of the night. And straight through the middle. Good game of footy at the G.
Well, it is, but everything starts, all offence starts with a good defensive action. And I just think that tackle in the middle, it just is huge. I mean, Newcomb's about to break, send Hawthorn forward. They've just put a 3-goal gap on the game. They're awake, they're alert, they're alive. And then bang, Mitchell clamps in. He's fighting for survival in this team. He's trying to stake a claim to be a midfielder going through a final series. And then the little champ gets involved, assesses who has a dominant position, which frame to go to. And I think largely they're going around Barris. Great play. Look at that. Bang. He was out there. That is a terrific tackle.
Pies bring it back to a 2-goal margin. Dacos cruised up to 8 disposals. Mick gets over the top. Newcomb. Nash. Inside the business area. Out into the path of Chol and Moore. Chol keeps it in front of himself. There is Mitchell. Back to the skipper now, Crisp. Well held by Newcomb. Ball to be won. Battle overruns it. Tried to scoop it out the back and through it. No, gets a free.
In the back, I think. John Newcomb with a really good defensive act there as well. Desperate tackle. Once again, we just see this sort of chip ball movement. All players in the defensive side, protecting the corridor.
So Scrimshaw eventually goes centre, Eamon. And now through the middle, Impey. Kept it low. Hits out Meek. Has Newcomb there. Newcomb looks to the side. Finds Nash.
Gee, that's great play. They're refusing to bomb the ball back to the intercept markers of the Pies. And Meek's become a major part of that. Just getting forward and leading back up on Cameron or taking him extremely deep so that he can't get in that hot spot, that drop zone, and intercept mark tonight.
Well, Nash, who's with the club until 2029. Was 11th in the AFL last year for tackles. The Irishman lets it rip from outside 50. Right on the line, saving the day, Cameron.
57 intercept marks coming into tonight. A record for Ruckman beating his own 56 from last season. He's added to that with a couple tonight. Dacos hemmed in, goes very short. Steers it in Aquana.
You just see him trying to create some of his eyes darting around, knowing that he really doesn't want to kick it long down the line. It is the only option here at the moment.
Waynor in the same position, has to go down the line. Good fish from Hardwick. Nash involved again. Out the back to Moore, been busy. Left foot to Gunston. Hasn't hit the scoreboard as yet, Jack. He had one game all season where he hasn't kicked the goal versus the Lions. He said he's going back. Sure, he's got 55 in him.
I think he's very best from here.
Watch out for the short option. He sets it up. Why wouldn't you? When you've got the likes of Kalsha Deer down there, Mitch Lewis and Chol falls to Deer. Screws off the outside of the boot. Nash took the ball in a tackle, then was held.
It's the second one there for Kalsha just sort of trying to grab it and hoik it over his shoulder. Just love to see him run away from the goals and invite someone in to come and get the handball off him. Colin Nash was in the right spot there.
Leon says the umpire. Nash quick work to Moore. Moore just off a standing start. It's a floating ball. Deer was at the front. Side bottom again. Coming through to save the day.
They're getting their opportunities with that quick opportunity. It's a quick snap from clearance. 17 clearances to 11. You just sense there's a snap goal coming here.
Injured Will Day with that foot out for the season. Help his team work on the bench. Chol, Dacos, Moore, Englebury. Oh, nice crowd on a cold Thursday night in Melbourne at the MCG.
Pendlebury slices through. That was so clever. Josh Dacos to Nick Dacos. Little stutter, and then his confident kick's going to work. Did he mean it? Don't know. Mitchell spreads it wider. Schultz. Collingwood on the run. He goes short down the line. Up the ground is Myercheck. Myercheck wheels and goes. It's going to be a centering ball to Elliott.
What about the kick from Nick? Of course he meant it, Matt. Of course he meant it. Inside 30, this guy goes at 72% conversion. Outside of 30, he goes at 48. This is absolutely 50-50 from here.
He kicked 5 against the Hawks back 10 weeks ago. As you can see, he's heading towards 50 for the season. So, Jamie Elliott gives himself a little bit more room. It's a big, long-looking kick. Scrimshaw's on the line. Barris thinks he's touched it too. Membry thinks it's a goal. What does the goal umpire say?
Leave it to behind. Confirm the ball was touched.
Sure. Score review. Umpire's call is touched on behind.
Review complete. Looking at this angle, we can see the ball's touched before crossing the back of the goal line. Decision on the scoreboard.
That's awesome. I mean, little things in big games have huge implications. Just to defend the goal line like that, terrific from the key backs. He was right on his range. We felt that. He knew that. Terrific work all round.
Hawks by 6 at quarter time, 2 goals to 1 this term. It's an 11-point margin. DeGoey, Cameron, Houston, really busy early. Puts it out in front of my check. Jack needs to be athletic, which is his one wood. Does it brilliantly. Back to Lipinski. Elliott fires towards goal again. Got the length this time, but not the accuracy.
Fantastic from Jaff there. Just to get that little hand in. That's the athletic traits that he brings. We've seen it on show already tonight on that wing early on. He got back in front of my check. It looked like a pretty easy mark and just athletically gifted.
MP2 D'Ambrosio. Great crowd in again here at the G, as you would expect. You're thinking 70, 75,000 just offhand. Ambrosio to the hot spot on the wing. Meek is in seat 1A, couldn't quite grab it. Lewis just paddled it out to Ginnivan, who rolls it along the ground. Quaynor scoops it up, but it's out of room.
It's a chance for Hawthorn to assert some ruck dominance as well.
Just looks like Hawthorn have the contested ball winners in their forward 50. Collingwood's forwards haven't really lit up to get more supply.
McStale, Wrestle Meek, perfectly positioned. Newcomb tries to arch the hips, puts it in a disputed situation. He's big, good man in that situation. Sends it forward. McDonald, Lewis gathers well for a big man. Moore strips him of the footy. They sit on top of it.
We're talking about the trusting contest and almost a couple of almost opportunities there for the Hawk forwards, but they're really threatening inside the arc.
Meek can go himself double-handed. Nash to Watson. Watson snap round the corner to Gunston. Hit him on the chest. Kick 4 last week. And at this stage, hasn't hit the goal scorer's sheet.
Yeah, you get a great view of this from behind the goal. He leads before the kick's even taken. Pinches 2 metres. It's enough.
You can hear him with the instructions. Snaps round and finds plenty of daylight. The Hawks back to 16.
They're smashing them, Jack, inside the forward 50. That's 13 contested possession wins to Hawthorn as a forward line versus 8 of the defenders. So plus 5 is a huge number when you think you normally have more defenders back to assist. You're working against an outnumber, and they just understand craft. Have a look at Gunston here and when he goes. So the ball's about to be kicked, and he's already on the move. Frampton's on his heels, and that's the meter that matters.
It's a sign of a good forward and a veteran forward as well. Just remaining out of contact of Billy Frampton. A tough kick here to kick that goal from Nick Watson, 45 metres out on the non-dominant side. So you've always got to be available and ready for something. And Gunston's one of the best in the competition at it.
50th goal for the season. That's a massive win for the Hawks. And they squeeze it back out to a 16-point margin. Cameron taps it down towards DeGoey. Newcomb having a good night. Lipinski, clever. Now the Pies back to DeGoey. Left foot. Hardwick's being held behind the footy. Embry floats across. The umpire's seen the Hardwick hole.
Yeah, see what Jamie Elliott was trying to do. He was trying to prevent Hardwick from coming in and get impacting Embry there. Just gave away the free kick.
They're on top down here. The Hawk defenders are on top, so Craig McRae's got a challenge. He needs to change the mix.
So Hardwick to the congestion. Quaynor in from the side. Grabbed by Watson. Chol, quick hands. McDonald weaving through the traffic. Hurried kick. Gunston waits at the back. Gets a chance. Frampton put his body there. Worried him out of it to Houston. Collingwood win an important ball, but they might cop it up with a lateral kick. They do. D'Ambrosio's market. Short to Lewis.
That's a big turnover. It's a big price to pay for Dan Houston. Kicking across your own D50, 50 metres, plenty of hang time. You can cover some ground as a player in that amount of time. And Massimo D'Ambrosio goes back with courage and then has the alertness just to get it to his key forward.
18 months checkered to career with injury, but he's back in the side. The Hawks fans are loving it. And from 48, it's a good-looking kick. An emphatic drop punt. Game high 22-point lead.
That's a really good sign of why the wings are so important. They've been important tonight, especially deep from a defensive and offensive point of view, been tracking up and down the ground. We saw Jack Crisp get exposed before in the first quarter with a handover, but Massimo D'Ambrosio in exactly the right position for a wingman defending. He's there to protect the switch. And Mitch Lewis gets off Darcy Moore. A risky kick from Dan Houston, trying to create something that probably wasn't there. Ambrosio with the intercept. I love the fact that just had his head on his shoulders, cool, calm and collected after going back with the flight and getting a nice little chip 15-metre mark.
Hawks by 6 at quarter time, 4 goals to 1 for the term. We're out to a 22-point game-high margin. Newcomb, he continues to extract it out of the middle. Ward, low ball, too much on it. Tom at the back, not sure it was directed to him, but the big Marbior marks down low.
They're smashing them inside the arcs. The forward 50, they're out of control. Can't go with them. Frampton looks a yard off pace at the moment, as you'd expect, coming back into the team. That's a dart. That is a great kick. I don't think he was going for more. I actually think he was going for the bigger body of Chol. But they're alert. They're on the move. They're excited, the Hawk forwards, and they're putting yards.
Talk through his goal kicking Kingy or not?
Not this time.
Just a bit more speed this time,
Marbior. A bit of confidence in Marbior.
And directly in front to take the Hawks out to 28 points. 28 points!
As I said, he doesn't miss. He does not miss. I mean, it's a slow action. It can frustrate at times, but that's 16 goals, 5 now from inside 30. And most of his opportunities, Jack, are in the corridor because he presents straight at the kicker. I do think this was for the tall. I like the movement. All forwards on the move, Jack, and sometimes, even if it's not meant for him, things can fall your way if you present.
Exactly, and you've got to remain in the game. Billy Frampton has been asleep at the wheel twice now and has let his forward waltz in to take a mark. You cannot give up on that. The kick goes slightly high over Dylan Moore. Marbior Choi in exactly the right position. Lloyd Meek really getting on top of Darcy Cameron in the ruck at the moment.
Craig McRae and the Pies under the pump. Meek is tapped down only to Pendlebury. Paddled it out to Nick Dacos. Side bottom, pummels the handball forward. Eamon was the first there ahead of Mitchell. Came out towards Newcomb. Newcomb flicks it out. Josh Dacos, he's grabbed. Hot football in the middle going really nowhere. And it's still play on, and now it's locked up.
This is referred pressure now. Josh Dacos fumbles, something that he would pick up 9 times out of 10.
Newcomb's had 14 disposals, but they're disposals that are really hurting the Pies. Moore slipped as he went to kick it. Chol goes for something ambitious. Quaynor breaks 1 tackle, slick hands. Josh Dacos back to Isaac Quaynor. Sends it out the Shane Warne stand side. Sicily spoils late. Chopped the arms, took the mark, neither paid.
D'Ambrosio. Moore. Back to Sicily. Hemmed in at the moment at half back. Just a kick and hope. Frampton with the big diffusing fist only to D'Ambrosio. And then through Warple. It was Moore and Ginnivan. Kick inside 50. Deer using his body. Newcomb overruns it. And now the pack forms. And it's locked up.
Just lacking connection in their D half at the moment, Collingwood. Billy Frampton spoiled his own teammate. Nick Watson got out the back again.
Hawks pressing again. Quaynor just dashes it out any way he can. Free kick. D'Ambrosio played it well in front of Lipinski.
He just looks so proactive behind the ball at the moment, Hawthorn. Just coming up at the footy. No hesitation on defence.
Massimo. Well done, Embry. Good effort on the spoil. And he comes a second time. Goes off the ground. Sicily's back there. Stopping to battle. This is an important kick. Warpool, Sicily. Now the Hawks will have run again on the turnover. Meek. I think a great game, the big fella. He's held up momentarily. He's got Impey on the switch.
Chol v Houston.
He sends it down in that area. Chol gets to the front position. And he's just a bit too big and a bit too strong.
They're all getting to Sicily, and why wouldn't you? That was exceptional work to win the ball back on the wing, stay involved, get the ball back to Meek in the corridor. And a little bit lucky, I'm not sure he hit it pure there, Big Meeky, but again, the forwards on the move, coming at the footy. They're smashing them in contested footy inside the arc.
A casual approach from Chol. It's worked once and failed once tonight. From directly in front, 25 out for 2 in a row for the number 18. Puts it home. He's kicked the last 2, and the Hawks all of a sudden lead it by 34 points in the shadows of half-time.
He doesn't miss from there, Jack.
Well, he missed one tonight, but since then, David, he's been very good in front of goal. I think this is Mabior Cho at his absolute best. Movement is infectious on an AFL football field, and you can see here, Mitch Lewis goes one way, Mabior Cho has Dan Houston isolated in a mismatch, just comes at the footy and leaps. I love what Lloyd Meek's doing at the moment. I reckon Darcy Cameron run him around early on, pushed hard forward on him. Meek's doing exactly the same thing back at Darcy Cameron and getting involved.
It's a different back line without Jeremy Howe. And we lost him early in the game, a minute and a half in, and they just look out of sorts without his influence as just sheer talent and his instruction.
So, Mabior Chol and Nick Watson with 2 goals apiece for the Hawks, a shell-shocked Pies. Cameron tried to get it to Pendlebury, but the Hawks went it out of the middle again. Warple received it from Newcomb. Long kick in the Deer direction and also the McDonald direction. Grabbed by Lipinski. His handball just hoping to find somebody. Found the boundary. It's going to be thrown in.
6 clearances to Newcomb. He's doing a lot of work at those centre bounces.
Pendlebury's put himself behind the ball as the spare. Here's the stopgap measure.
Hawks have kicked the last 4, 6 goals to 1 for the turn. Newcomb again off his foot, stripped away.
Yeah.
He's got a free kicker's try for a hole.
Yeah, and they're just panicking now. You can just feel, you feel tension when you're caught in this defensive 50 arc. They're clutching, they're grabbing, they know that when the Hawks move, they're struggling to go with them.
Coach told us pre-game he had a couple of sore spots in the last 5 weeks. Felt physically he was back to his best last week. Didn't show on the stat sheet, but tonight it is. It's for a 16th disposal. Mentioned those 6 clearances lining up for his first goal to make it 5 in a row for the Hawks. The number 3 from right on 50. Tugs at a touch, going for the yardage. He's there again! Big Lloyd, he's dominating this game.
It's the cardinal sin. It's happened twice now.
He's kicked 1 from marking in the square against Darcy Moore. Lloyd's looking for a second for the term. Meek from the angle. Defenders will sprint at him. Lloyd bangs through his second. The Hawks have kicked the last 5. And they're out to a game-high 40-point margin.
I'm not sure how many celebrations he's got in the kit bag. I reckon he's maxed out at 2. But what a return it's been. I mean, that's 4 contested marks now in your forward 50. And to stand and deliver like this. Now, we talked about the goal line work at the other end for the Hawks, just to get a touch, just to get a finger on that ball that Elliott had a long-range opportunity with. That has to go through.
Well, no one's on him. That's the thing that Craig McRae would be looking at, going, who is on Lloyd Meek? So, as a function, Darcy Moore, or one of the key backs, in this case here, Billy Frampton, should be on Lloyd Meek. You can't let a ruckman come down. Even if it's Braden Maynard, come down and take the ruck. Give Darcy Cameron the free jump to be able to kill that ball over for a point. You can see, I reckon, Tim Embry talking about it there.
So the Hawks fighting for a spot in the top 8 this year have played magnificently in the first half, and again almost grabbed Cameron. Then he had a second go and Ginnivan was ferocious for it. Kick along the ground towards half forward. Gunston overran it. Perryman got a toe poke to it. Impey went in. They grabbed him and a ball up.
This is ferocious at the moment from Hawthorn. Incredible pressure.
7-1 for the term. Away of the brown and gold. Deers in the square with Frampton. To go, he sends it in the opposite direction. And test the Hawthorn defenders. Scrimshaw needs to be clean. Caught with the footy, releases it somehow.
So Jack will have full analysis with the best in the business at half-time. Of course, you're one of the best in the business. What haven't Collingwood done tonight?
Oh, I just think they've been beaten all around the ground. They've been beaten in the air. And structurally, for a team that we think is one of the best organised teams in the competition, they've looked unorganised. Back, middle and front.
Meek down to Newcomb. Just there, fossicking away as well, and a ball up.
And it's clear that the lack of Jeremy Howe, we only saw him for a minute 12 tonight, has hurt them down back. They've been undersized and unorganised in the air.
Hawks plus 10 inside 50s, make it plus 9 now. My check to Cameron, he'll have a second crack. Cameron, this would be something special. Attempt 2, just fades late.
It's a big challenge for a team that has been atop of the ladder for the most of this year. They've been comprehensively beaten in this quarter. Half-time, plenty needs a change for Craig McRae's mob.
So the final 10 seconds or so. More marks. Is there one more chance here for the Pies? Chris Wobbly, ball to buy a check. No, Scrimshaw in the air, got it back to Battle. And then the clearing kick is going to be good enough to Meek. And how Meeks got the football as the siren sounds with 2 big goals in that second quarter. And it's going to be at half-time, the Hawks by 39.
Well, quite simply, Hawthorn have just dominated this game in every aspect. If you go through the numbers, and Collingwood minus 56 in possession. They just haven't been able to get their hands on the footy, and that run-and-gun type of game that Hawthorn love to play has been exceptional. And 2 men that have been watching it from boundary, Eddie Betts and Brad Johnson.
Well, we celebrate the talls and what they've done in the air, but the smalls as well for the Hawks have been exceptional, especially their high half forwards, and there's 3 of them in Jack Kinnaman, Dylan Moore, and the Wizard, of course. Wizard was unbelievable in the first quarter. Kinnaman's had some nice moments as well. But Dylan Moore has really impressed you, Ed.
There he is, and Jack just spoke about it then, the run and gun by Hawthorn. That's created by them high half forwards, getting up the ground, creating an extra number. Dylan Moore is at the 18 disposal for the half, being that high half forward, getting up the ground, he's kicked the goal. But what makes it more important, when they get back inside 450, they're putting pressure on. They've got the 6 inside 50 tackles to Collingwood 0. And that's what Collingwood are missing at the moment. Their pressure inside forward 50, and without Bobby Hillbound there, Bo McQuarrie, it makes it hard. So it's going to be a big second half.
Howie, their work rate across the ground has been outstanding, but their speed to put pressure on, their speed to attack has been enormous.
Hawks by 6 at the first break, 39 at half-time. Chol and Meek have got a couple for the Hawks. My check with 2 for the Pies. Sarah.
It has been a massive opening half by the Hawthorn Football Club with their season on the line. Tonight is a must-win game, and they are making Collingwood look second-rate. They are dominating them in the air. They are smashing them at ground level. Jason Dunsell, David King, Lee Montagna, they are standing tall at the exact right time of the season.
Yeah, hard not to be impressed with Hawthorn, but they didn't get the reward on the scoreboard until late in that second term. It was only the back half of the second term that a couple of really nice kicks put more goals on the board, and probably the margin now reflects the difference between the 2 teams. What they've got to do, though, is they've got to match that effort when they come out, because you know that Craig McRae and the Collingwood players, they'll have some plans. They'll come out. They won't come out the same way in the first half.
Yeah, they've dominated every facet, Hawthorn, but Collingwood look really ordinary. They look clunky going forward with their ball movement. They've been outnumbered and outworked around the contest through the midfield, and their defence just looks, they look disorganised, they look vulnerable. Everything that we potentially thought about Collingwood coming into the game has been exposed by Hawthorn in this first half, so Craig McRae's got some serious thinking to do.
It is a huge story at the moment for 2 reasons, both Hawthorn and what it could mean in the context of their season, but also Collingwood and the run that they are struggling with at the moment. We're going to have a look at some Harvey Norman highlights, and it involves Jai Newcomb, who unfortunately very early in the game was involved in a sickening collision with Collingwood superstar Jeremy Howe, who was stretchered from the field. this will be a big story in itself. But the way he was able to respond once he went off the ground was checked, obviously, HIA. He's had 16 disposals and 6 clearances. He's been awesome.
It's an amazing first half, given that incident. And it looked a genuine attempt to tackle. He had the arms open, so he copped a pretty big hit as well, but he was able to shake it off. We hope that Jeremy Howe's okay, and it's just a minor concussion and nothing more. That would be the best possible result for him. But he was able, and that bloke there, the big bloke, I thought Lloyd Meek had an amazing first half. He's helped distribute the ball to Jai Newcomb, but Newcomb's been involved in everything.
Well, this is the Jai Newcomb that we saw at the very back end of last season in the finals. He was enormous, and the mental toughness and resilience that he's shown to have the 15 minutes off after that massive hit and to come out and play the way he has and led from the front, I thought has been sensational. And Sam Mitchell gave us a bit of an insight pre-game. Basically said for a month there he might have been sore, he was carrying something, but he seems to be over that now, and he's got the power and explosiveness that we know that he carries.
Kingy, one of the first things you do as an analyst at a Collingwood game is you look where Nick Dacos is at the start of the game. Is he at the centre bounce? Who's got him? No. Is he in defence? Is he playing forward? Hang on. He's sitting on the bench for the first time in 2 years. The star starts there.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Look, he hasn't been physically right, I don't think, all week. He's been rested and managed through the week. He's hardly trained. He's hardly moved. And I think we're seeing that tonight. It's a heavy load. We've talked about the load to this guy and what he means in terms of score involvements, 43% of their scoring over the last 6 to 7 weeks. And tonight he's just off. And I think it highlights the form of those around him when he's just off. And this is why they're struggling. Who steps up? Who's the next man up in that midfield to take control? We haven't seen it.
He needs assistance. Having said that, he's still done some incredibly clever things in tough situations. He's navigated his way through traffic, released a couple of teammates when it looked like they had nothing on. But you're right, he needs assistance.
Joey, a lot of talk about the Hawks persisting with the 4 tall forwards. It's meant that there's been a lot of ground ball for them, and they're dominating there.
Yeah, it has. It's been a talking point, but it's meant that the Smalls have a reference point. Hawthorn are prepared to kick long to a contest. They know they're going to get a great contest from, Cal Shadir in particular, who's flying for the ball in the Smalls and then getting to work. I mean, Nick Watson has looked dynamic right from the outset. He's been a real threat. Ginnivan and Dylan Moore and these guys are continuing to do their thing. It's allowed Hawthorn to keep the ball inside their forward 50, and they've challenged the Collingwood defenders.
Their planning going inside 50 has been terrific, Joey.
Hasn't it? Yeah, just kick it straight in there, get it long and deep, and then the Smalls can get to work. And they've all had influence. If they can't win the ball, they apply pressure. And they've exposed Collingwood defensively.
What I like about those inside 50 kicks, and I think you were referring to, Kingy, they've lowered the eyes when they've had the opportunity. They haven't just blazed away. If you've got time, look, find an option, kick the advantage of a teammate, and they've been able to take those marks.
They've taken 11 marks inside 50, 8 of those in the corridor. I think that's a real sign that they're in good cohesion forward of the ball.
Marbia Chol has been a fascinating watch, Jace, watching with you. There's the good, there's the bad, and there's the ugly. We've seen it all today.
I'm a more frustrating player in the AFL than Marbia Chol because his good is so good and then his bad is so horribly rubbish. I mean, he can just make the seemingly simple look incredibly difficult, and then he can do some incredible things. A fumble. He should have had a couple of goals early, and he couldn't pick it up, so he just boots it off the ground. Another opportunity goes begging. You just think, well, he's capable of so much. But then you see the effort here. He gets up 1, 2, 3 tackles, and he lays the big tackle, and you think, right, he's back on song. Nope, not quite. We haven't quite got the kicking boots on. So he has a horrible first quarter, but then all of a sudden he lights it up in the second. And whether that kick was meant for him or not, the smart thing is he's 5 metres in front of his man. He's hitting up at the footy. Then he hits the target. Then he gets another one here. And it's 1 against 2, effectively a contested mark. So all of a sudden his confidence is up. Now he's kicked a couple. Everyone's feeling better about themselves.
So do you love him or not?
Oh, frustrated.
Do you love him
frustrated. I love him when he's like that.
Didn't at quarter time, did by half time.
Oh boy, he's a big Mac. He's one with a lot
Look
of.
down the camera and say, I love you, Marbia.
Keep going, Marbia.
You're a hard one to win over, Jason. Kingy, before the game, you put it on the agenda. You wanted to see some mix up in the middle, something different, so to use of the smaller forwards in there to pinch hit.
Yeah, and I think Watson started so well forward of the ball. He said, leave him there. He looks dangerous. But we have seen Moore in there a couple of times, and we have seen Watson in there a couple of times. And it works for them, Joey. They're dynamic. They're on the move.
Yeah, they are. They've got a bit of leg speed. Collingwood are a bit slower in there. I mean, I don't think ideally they wanted to play Tom Mitchell and Ned Long in the same midfield. I think the plan was for De Goey, and that might be a talking point, Kiggy. They wanted to manage De Goey, sub him out and bring him in. They haven't, and the Hawks have had more leg speed. It's been clear across the ground. They've been able to get to the contest, and then how easy is this? Look, Collingwood just disorganised, Dylan Moore staying active.
So that's the Pickett, Shea Bolton role we keep talking about. You know, something different, something that challenges the Collingwood mids to come with, and they haven't. And look at Moore, has his best game for probably 2 months. So they've all arrived tonight, Jason. It's been quite powerful what the Hawks have done.
It has been, but that's only a half of football. And we saw they had some really good patches last week against the Crows. Hey, this team's top 2 for a reason, Collingwood. They haven't lost the ability to play. I'm really keen to see what they can manufacture in terms of a comeback in the second half.
I'm just keen to see Marbior's third quarter now after where you've taken us.
We might need Jason Dunstall Cam for the third quarter. All right, we've got so much more to come. John Ralph will join us to dissect Carlton's decision to retain Michael Voss as coach. And remember, next week, AFLW returns a doubleheader. The Blues take on the Pies, followed by the Eagles and the Suns.
All right, there we go. A little bit of analysis from the commentators at half-time. Eddie G, you're not wrong there. The Hawks smashing the Pies. I tell you what, the Hawks are absolutely all over Collingwood in this match. I tell you what, they certainly have been from the get-go, pretty much in the from the opening quarter. Even though it was a little bit tight here, it was still Hawthorn in favour. Collingwood just seemed to be out of sorts, and they have been for the past month of football. Tell you what, I can't even see the Magpies coming home, getting back into this game at the moment. Tell you what, they'll need something to change drastically for the Magpies to cut anywhere near Hawthorn in this game. Hawthorn just having free run in this game. Their backline, the Magpies, seem to be in disarray since Jeremy Howe went off in the opening 2 minutes of the first quarter. What's going to happen? I don't know. Tell you what. Magpies, they're just not putting the pressure on Hawthorn. As I said, Hawthorn absolutely dominating in all aspects of the game. All right, let's have a little bit of a look at the goal scorers, stats. While we're here on halftime, Nick Watson, just before we go any further, that is the live ladder, of course. Hawthorn up into 5th spot now, building on that percentage, which is bad news for Fremantle, of course. And the Giants... and the Gold Coast Suns, they're coming up close now to there. So not looking good for these teams down now, I must say. There we go. All right, Nick Watson with 2, Lloyd Meek with a couple, and Chol also with 2 there for the Hawks. Dylan Moore, Lewis Gunston, Cash Ledier, they're all singles. And for the Magpies, Brody Myercheck with 2, Jordan Agoe with 1. Only 2 goal scorers for the Magpies up until half-time. Leading disposal getters out on the ground. Of course, it's all Hawthorn. Dylan Moore tops the table with 18, 8 kicks, 10 marks. 8 kicks, 10 handballs, I should say, 4 marks, a couple of clearances and a goal. Doing a good job. Jai Newcomb up there on 16 with Ambrosio Ginnivan on 14. Best for the Maggies, Dan Houston on 13. Mind you, he's probably getting some of those stats when he's kicking out from goal. Nick Dacos on 11. Well, no impact on this game has Nick. Josh on 10. But, of course, you got the rest up there. Battle, Ward, 11 and 12 for those players. Sicily on 10. There we go. Scotty Pendlebury on 9. Connor Nash on 8 with Mitch Lewis there. Jordan Goey just the 8 touches. 4 and 4, 1-1. Who else we got there for you? Nick Watson with 2 goals. He just has 7 touches. 4 kicks, 3 handballs. And, of course, the milestone man, the 350 gamer, still side bottom. Well, not one of the better games. He's a little bit quiet today. 6 touches, just the one behind for him. Get on over, have a look at the team stats. Let me just reload this back up. There we go. Wowee. Hawthorn just controlling this way above season average. 193, Collingwood 139. 54 disposals plus to the Hawks. That's huge. Look at that. 43 more kicks, 13 more handballs, inside 50s. Hawthorn doing a great job controlling this. 25 inside 50s for Hawthorn's 13 scoring shots. That's fantastic. Collingwood 17 inside 50s for 9 scoring shots. That is just super duper low. They should be up around 27, 28. Hawthorn pretty much going on their season average, so the Hawks doing a great job there. Disposal efficiency, Hawthorn on top there nicely, 74.6. Pies a little low, 71.9. Need to boost that up. The efficiency inside 50 for Hawthorn is fantastic, 72%. That is really good numbers there for the Hawks. The Pies at 52.9, and not too bad either, but need to lift us also. Free kicks, 13-10. Collingwood have actually had 3 more. Well, there we go. All right, let's head on down next to the hit house. And, of course, Hawthorn winning this area. Hawks winning in pretty much every area that counts. +5 in the hit outs, +8 in the clearances. Centre clearances, Hawks +2, and they're doing really well around stoppage clearances. Hawthorn 16-10 around the grounds. They're +6 there. Looking at the contested possessions, they're just going harder at the ball. Hawthorn 71-56. Uncontested, well, they're +45. They're just giving Collingwood an absolute spanking, a towel up tonight in Thursday night football here. Turnovers are actually reasonably low for both sides, just 26 and 23. Looking at the marks there, well, Hawthorn +14 with that uncontested ball, certainly controlling it. +14 in the marks. Marks inside 50, that's fantastic there for the Hawks. 11 marks inside 50 already up until half-time. Tell you what, they look dangerous. The Hawks look dangerous nearly every time they go inside their forward 50. Collingwood having troubles to defend to their maximum there. The Pies only 4. Certainly not the best entries into the Collingwood forwards. That being said, Hawks defending well. Contested marks. Hawks stronger in the air, 7-2. Let's have a look at the defence. Well, that's an interesting stat there, folks. Interesting stat. 19 tackles to 23. Just goes to show that pressure on both sides is extremely low. Extremely low. 19 tackles for half of football. You don't get much lower than that by by Hawthorn. Collingwood in the same boat. 23. Extremely low, but this is where the Hawthorn Smalls are doing exceptionally well inside their forward 50. They've had 6 tackles inside forward 50. Collingwood yet to lay a tackle inside their forward 50. All right, we're about 4 minutes away. 4 minutes away before the bounce of the ball for the second half, where the Hawthorn is doing their job. And I tell you what, they're kicking pretty accurate too. 10 goals, 363. The Magpies a little bit skew-if, 3-6-24. Wowee. Can they come back? Well, I don't know. It's 39-point margin half-time here to the Hawks. It's going to be a real struggle to see the Pies get anywhere close back into this game. Look, the Pies certainly, they need to run on a bit of confidence coming into this second half. The only way they can do that is start and perform. They need the first couple of goals in the opening section of this third quarter, or it could be yibbity-yibbita, folks. That's all lights out. I tell you what, Hawthorn might just keep running over Collingwood if Collingwood don't pull their finger out and do something. And tell you what, Tom Mitchell's not doing a great deal out there for the Pies tonight. As expected, Jordan De Goey, he's done a little bit. That's about it. Tell you what, their back line not really holding up. Yeah, it's a struggle there for the Pies. Hawthorn, though, they got good ball movement, reasonably quick. They're pretty slick. So they're doing, they're just catching the Pies off guard. Hawthorn looking good so far up until the opening half, folks. Up until the opening half. Ryan, what's going on, Squire? I tell you what, the games coming up over the weekend, Friday night football, we've got Geelong taking on Essendon. That's down there at GMHBA Stadium. It should be a pretty soft win for Geelong, you would expect, tomorrow night. And, of course, Saturday, interesting games. We've got Richmond, St Kilda. That's really a no game. Brisbane taking on Sydney. That'll be an interesting game. Of course, Brisbane picking up a little bit of form last week, beating the Magpies. But Brisbane still not playing anywhere near their best. Sydney could cause an upset up there. And, of course, Saturday evening, you got Carlton and the Gold Coast. A game that you would expect the Gold Coast to rattle over Hawthorn at the MCG. if they're going to be a real contender for the flag this year, the Gold Coast. Of course, Saturday evening, you got Port Adelaide, Fremantle. That's going to be another interesting game. It's one of the, 3 games to go for Ken Hinkley as a Port Adelaide coach. They'll be looking to do the job for them, but Fremantle certainly be looking for the victory over there to cement themselves in the top 8 as well. Of course, Sunday you got GWS Giants taking on North Melbourne. GWS Giants should bounce back with that game there. Melbourne and the Western Bulldogs. You'd expect the Bulldogs to have a comfortable win at the MCG over Melbourne. And of course, Sunday's final game of the rounds, West Coast Eagles taking on Adelaide over there at Optus Stadium in Perth. And I tell you what, folks, this is going to be a game where we're going to pick the margin, not who wins, because I think Adelaide will win by 100 plus on Sunday. So there we go. That is your games. That is the roundup of the games this week. So just taking a little bit, another peek at the live AFL ladder. Of course, Adelaide sitting on top. Collingwood going to go down in tonight's match. They'll remain second on 60 points. Their percentage has dropped by about 5% in this game so far, whereas Hawthorn has picked up about that much. Brisbane, third, looking to eye off that second position. And, of course, Geelong will definitely win, so they'll probably go above Collingwood. So Collingwood could possibly drop down to about 4th position after this round. So after Collingwood being reasonably good on top for so long, they're going to jump down to about 4th. I'll tell you what, they're going to be facing some hard times there. Can they still even make the top 8? Time will tell. And of course, Hawthorn there. This is a definite must-win game for them tonight to keep their season alive and jump up that AFL ladder. Could Hawthorn end up getting into the top 4? Well, only time will tell. They've got a couple more games to play after this one. Round, what are we in round? We are in, oh my gosh, I can't even remember. We're around 22, so we've got 2 more rounds to go for Hawthorn and Collingwood. And of course, the others battling it out. As I said, we think the Brisbane Lions, we're not sure on. Look, we think Geelong's going to win. That'll take them up to 60. Fremantle, we're not sure on. Playing Port Adelaide. Gold Coast, we think they'll win. It'll take them to 56. Giants should win. Take them to 56. And, of course, the Bulldogs should win. Take them up to 52. So it's going to be really, really interesting. There we go. So it might end up being the Bulldogs are still a game out. So all teams above them, they actually need to keep winning to guarantee a spot in the top 8 come finals, as I said. Only a couple of weeks out, 3 weeks out, I think, Eddie G. Pies might miss. I tell you what, there's a chance if they lose every other game, it's a possibility they could. They're on 60. Western Bulldogs, if they win every game, they'll go above the Pies. Can you believe that? Staggering to think that, but anything's possible coming up in the next 3 weeks of the home and away season. She's going to be a tight battle, which is going to be exciting to watch. All right, let's head back down to the action. My gosh, they've already started. Hawthorn's got the ball.
The third kick from Sicily towards Moore. Frampton comes back, takes the moment.
Plays on quickly. Mitchell.
They have the best set plays in the competition from kick out the Hawks. We just saw it there. Usually they use Impey on the fly. That time it was Sicily.
Maynard. So eventually called to get on with it. A low one. Rifles it to side bottom.
This is the slow build-up from Collingwood. Very little speed on the ball. Happy to go long down the line. It's central.
Full extension on the kick. Pulled the kick a little. Barris couldn't mark it. Crisp with the crumbs with Lipinski, who uses Crisp, who scampers hard. Then a little low. Chipping ball towards Elliott. Was well spoiled by Hardwick. Back to Crisp. Just kept it in play. Used his body well. Lipinski centering ball. Schultz at the front. Ambrosio an emphatic grab.
Set up well behind the ball, the Hawks. Massimo, full back. Now to battle. Cruises down the line, directs traffic, then kicks long. Moore will be favoured. Deer comes from behind, away from Houston. Good tap by Moore. Found Mitchell. Now Nick Dacos with a wobbling ball forward. Sicily looms large. Harris and Sisley didn't really have the communication going. Works out okay to Giath. Will he take on side bottom? Will screen back past Moore, who looks inboard. Hawks patient with the footy. Amon measures it to Ward.
So Ward, slight hesitation, and then low ball almost hooked by Houston. Ginnivan went without it. Eventually comes out to Moore. Moore sells a bit of candy and then heads in the Chol direction. Emphatic punch. Goes to Watson. Watson swings around and then too slow. Great tackle coming through McStay by hand Josh Dacos, and the Pies are out.
To a contest. Battle gets early bodies on my check.
Gee, they got away with one there. Dylan Moore's work rate had to be seen to be believed. From the half-back flank, he ran 100 metres and nearly created a score for his team. He is just burning the Collingwood midfield the other way.
Well, they just look too quick at the moment for them. Just off the break of half-time, they're exploding better, Hawthorn.
Newcomb going in to lock it up. Meek.
This is the challenge for Collingwood. Who does have the leg speed? We know Nick Dacos is in there. Maybe they need to throw a Lockie Schultz on ball. Dan Houston on ball.
Meek. Nick Dacos in close quarters. Scooped out by Newcomb. Fighting for it hard. Dacos, he went for the boundary, and he's going to get penalised as well.
Meekie's having a good night, but I'm not sure he's going to run under that loose ball there.
Ambitious. Nash, the recipient of the insufficient penalty. High ball. Chol sets himself from behind. Watson flashes through. Can he pick it up? He can. To Newcomb. 34-3. Hawks with the start.
Oh, this is a toasting. This is a midfield toasting at the moment. Newcomb just exploded. And they didn't go with him. Watson's cut back through the traffic was brilliant. And again, it's off the back of a predictable drop of ball. Chol flies, brings it to ground. This guy's been on fire.
What's he run for Chol, though?
And look at Newcomb, all by himself, 30 from goal, corridor. Look at him there. Not one Collingwood mid responsible for Jai in the hottest of hotspots.
There is no physical contact on any Hawthorn player in that bit of play there. No contact on Watson, Marbiot, Chol. We've seen already tonight getting forward. Newcomb just sits out. Where's the contest?
You can't go with this midfield. I'm sorry, but they refuse to defend at the moment. You have to make change in this game or with a view forward, because right now they're being absolutely sizzled in the middle.
So Meek down to Warple, and then kick was almost off the bonce of Crisp, who's just tapped it to himself, working hard, then he kicks it along the ground. It tumbles in. Grabbing it is Battle.
Yeah, great attack of the ball there, Josh Battle. He had to make the decision to leave his opponent to come up. Nick Dacos running onto the ball, made the right decision and got there first.
Down out to the side of the contest, keeping eye on side bottom. Meek will have the strength on my check. To go, he has the strength. Run down from behind him, he gets it. Brilliant. Brilliant from the number 4.
Yeah, and it's just a sight of where Jordan's getting to. I mean, it's just half a yard off. He's finding his absolute best. He's been impressive in patches tonight, Jordan, so he's building nicely. Just got run down there.
Sicily out the back. Jaff.
Just did enough to make sure that Dan Houston couldn't get back and really impact, and he ended up giving away the free kick on Jaff.
So Jaff opens up the space and then kicks long in the Deer direction, but more a good defensive mark through the middle. Crisp handball to no one to open space. The Hawks can run onto it. McDonald did. Ward, Hardwick, Deer, handball, Warple, McDonald, spears one to Gunston.
Just walking through the middle at the moment, and it's through short handball, angled kicks, and angled movement. You can see here just shifting the ball, and this shifts the Collingwood defence behind and opens up opportunities and holes like this for Jack Gunston, who is the best lead-up forward in the competition. Has already kicked 50 goals this year to come out and take an easy mark.
Yes, he raised the bat for 50 earlier on tonight. This 3-second, it's straight and true. The Hawks have picked up where they left off. It's out to 50, and who was expecting that?
Well, no one was expecting it. I just want to talk about composure with the ball in hand. They know they've got him. They know they've got him for leg speed. So as soon as there's a turnover here, just watch the composure. Okay, now we've got out. We're out. We can step through them, and if we get into trouble, we can put the burners on. Just look at McDonald. He's almost slowing down to take that handball. They've kicked 7 goals from the last 11 inside 50s. You just don't score at that rate. This is pure football at the moment for the Hawks. It's been missing for a while, but it's a great time to get it back.
Those 7 goals are unanswered for the Hawks. So they kick the opening 2. Johnston gets his second alongside Chol and Meek. And the Hawks are out to a 50-point margin. Newcomb has been dynamite in the middle. Dacos to go. He has a crack in the middle. Just palms it away. Pendlebury side bottom in game 350. Sicily hoovers it up to Impey off half back. Swings one down the line. Quaynor attacks it, marks nicely.
Quaynor into the middle. Cameron. Ginnivan came for the spoil. Eventually won the football, Jack. And then his kick, a couple of steps in front of Gunston was more, and then he dropped it. Frampton, and then the errant handball. The pressure getting to the Pies in the back line. And look at the Hawks. They're sniffing a goal. Deer picked it up. Deer steps and misses.
There's pressure, and then there's referred pressure. The drop mark first by Darcy Moore, and then the missed handball as well.
They're rattled.
They are rattled.
He had options there. Like all good forwards, Howie, he took the opportunity to have a shot.
Some mistakes in the back line. Guys get away with it.
When they start picking forward tools, you've got to take your chances as one of them.
Who's for Nick Dacos? I'm not sure what that would be. Long came in early as the sub with Howe off. Pendlebury sweeps the hand pass forward to Schultz. Has to wait for it. Battle closes late. Dacos so clean, but gives it only as far as Scrimshaw. Jaff takes on the tackle. Hawks under pressure. What the answers at this particular moment? Sicily, it's an aggressive kick. Favours Mitchell.
Got on there from Warple to get to Nick Dacos, who was on the fly for the handball receive.
So Mitchell sends it long. Scrimshaw at the front. Side bottom in the foot race here. Swings around and then check sides cleverly, but no one home. Hawks have the numbers. Barris with the half volley did well. Eventually came to Hardwick, who sinks the boot into it. But Moore, knowing the urgency, takes the mark.
Just forward of the wing. Drops it back to McStay in the circles. Finally some spread. A little too much on it for Houston. Jaff will arrive, try and impact the contest. Now stands off Dacos. Josh with a nice step. Comes back inboard on the right. Hawks fly at the footy. Watson roaming. Good use of the body again by Josh Dacos. In fact, it was Schultz. They go off the ground. Hardwick claims it. Got one high.
Just don't have the answers. More the movement in the forward 50 for Collingwood. They've been taking the 4 marks inside 50 tonight.
I feel like they're becoming a little bit Nick Dacos-centric as well, just trying to get it to him at every opportunity.
Barris. Long ball to the congestion. Deer in from the side. Not this time. Lewis. Pies fans think he dropped the ball. Jaff back to Lewis. Out of fresh air. He grabbed by Schultz. Frampton's quick hands. And then it was Cameron to McStay. McStay swinging kick. Sicily. And his name written all over it.
Oh, that's strong. That's a message. I mean, we're talking about this guy, whether he's back or not, but when you see him stand toe-to-toe with Myercheck and take that mark, that's powerful.
Just goes a long ball to the flank. Lewis flies. Again, looked for Warple with the tap, I think. Ginnivan, Meek, had a good game. Now the Hawks will have some run through Nash. Watson's wide. Look out for him. He'll continue to run. Watson. He streams inside 50. Sends it long and deep to Gunston. One hand. Nearly not quite. Pies the numbers. Maynard was clever. And they get out of trouble just.
Lucky. Hawthorn just exploded out of that contest, and that's leg speed from the original marking contest here at half-forward flank. They are just leaving Collingwood players behind them.
And that's where they're desperately missing McCreary and a fit to go on
Bobby
Hill. Just their speed game is not quite there at the moment.
Pendlebury out to Moore. He's got on his own Schultz here. So Schultz has Elliott running by. He elects to go himself. Further afield in the memory direction. Elliott. Oh, the scoop was clever. Goes himself. Shot at goal. Doesn't miss by a great deal.
There's an excellent pick up there from Jamie Elliott, but everything is wide for Collingwood at the moment, so the shots are from wide. Low percentage. Hawthorn just absolutely patrolling the middle of the ground.
Meek and Cameron stand out in front of the members.
Well, they've had 12 inside 50s each in the last 25 minutes of footy. 7 goals won to 2 behinds at the other end.
Casual puts Nash under a bit of pressure. Happy to take on Pendlebury. Quaynor will come from behind, but he doesn't get an opportunity. It's a good grab from Battle. Hawks with all the answers at the moment. Sicily feigns a hand pass, then maintains possession. Wants to go short, nothing really presents. Sends it out wide, straight to side bottom, unusual.
So halfway through the all-important third term, still 50 points, side bottom. Kick to the contest, Sicily working his way to the front. Scrimshaw lost sight of it. Mitchell, bit of a dance around as they work the key. Out eventually to Meyer, check with a little dinky pass to Lipinski.
Yeah, well done. Just kept fighting hard there. Meyer check with the clever kick across the body to Lipinski, who just keeps turning up. Can be a dangerous opposition. He's only had 7 disposals so far tonight. Need more from him, but he's an option to go into the middle and give him a spark.
So goalless tonight. Patrick Lipinski comes in. Very still night for goal kicking and spears it through. Gives the Pies some hope.
It's an important goal. 7 in the road to the Hawks. But it's hard fought through contest. From Mitchell in a really fantastic position here. I love this from Brody Myercheck. He'd seen Patrick Lipinski just out the corner of his eye. All he needed to do was just get it over his right shoulder with a little dinky left foot kick. Just manufacture something to get the mark inside forward 50 and a good finish from Lipinski. They need to build on this.
They break a run of 7 goals from the Hawks. It's Myercheck's second, partway through the second term. Was the previous goal before that. Joel oiled up with bounce. And the path of Ward. Pokes it too much on it for Ginnivan. Missed the target. Opens the opportunity for Perryman. Game 150. Wobbles it out towards the flank. Game 1 provides the body.
So Nick Dacos roaring his teammate off, which is side bottom. Nick Dacos scampers on as the throw-in happens right in front of him. Crisp under the pump. There's Dacos getting involved. Traps it. But McDonald grabbed it instead. Nash is wobbly, one inside 50. It's a bouncing ball. Frampton came out, met it hard. Handball to Moore. How's it going to sit? Applying the pressure was the Hawks. And now it's Perryman coming through. Perryman, Frampton, Lipinski. And they're out of trouble. It looked unlikely there at one point. Out of play.
Panic stations there in the Collingwood D50 for a point there. Missed handballs. The ball hits the ground. You can see the Hawks just absolutely sweating on turnover and any opportunity to get in there and put pressure on.
The Pies kick 2 in a row for the first time of the night. Continue to try and work their way somehow back into this. Dacos under pressure as he tries to gather. Does well at ground level. Comes back to McStay. Measures it to Cameron. Forward hand pass to Pendlebury. Barris will come from the side of Myercheck. Nash stays down, a big body. Immediately caught by Crisp.
So we saw some work being done on Nick Dacos's neck earlier. Maynard getting some stretches as well. Ginnivan to Newcomb to Eamon. Scrubbly went along the ground. Ambrosio. Ginnivan over the top. McDonald back to Warple. Standing start. Just slaps it on the boot. It's good enough. Gunston.
Touch play on.
His touch play on.
Yeah.
So he had to get rid of it. Luckily, Ginnivan was standing near him. D'Ambrosio, handball battle. Battle from a standing start, drop punt, and slices it through for a behind.
Very lucky there. That was touched off the boot. Well called by the umpire. Jack Gunston not knowing.
Well, Frampton very lucky there, Billy. On his heels again. He's got to be ready at full back to get onto that lead to defend.
Skipper doesn't really time the clearing ball. D'Ambrosio caught with the footy. Did well to get a little cheeky boot on it. Now a chance for the Pies. Hoskinelli, it hasn't been a factor so far. Hardwick, DeGoey and Hardwick. Eamon will rise for the extra man. Barris needs to get rid of it quickly and does. Down the line, Impey stands underneath it, marks.
Yeah, good protection from Marby Child there for Jarman Impey.
Looks inboard. Oh, gee. Winds it to centre half back to Nash. So the spare man creates some room on the outer side. Eamon's got time to fumble. Take a bounce. He's got Giaff. It's pretty sloppy from the Hawks, and they make a bit of a mess of that.
Sure, Sam Mitchell will be sitting up in the coach's box just wanting them to execute, especially when you're up by 45 points here. That percentage is a really big issue for Hawthorn. They've got a chance to really blow that out of the water.
So, DeGoey and Newcomb almost in a secondary ruck battle that time. Ginnivan, Eamon, Hardwick, battle. Sinks the boot into it. Chol at the front. Perryman with the fist. Watson's there. Works hard as always. Gets one high.
Well, good night, Nick Watson. He's hit the scoreboard. He's been busy. Kicked the opening two. The Hawks go inside 50 again. Newcomb flies. Mitch Lewis comes out. McDonald with a high up and under. Pies have got the numbers. The one down. D'Ambrosio can't affect the contest. And side bottom marks and wants Collingwood numbers to come to the near side. Then chips back in. They can't.
Houston. Oh, he's kicked straight down towards MP. And then MP's kicked down to the top of the square to Gunston. Explain that one, boys.
Just risk versus reward. I potentially think that he didn't see Jarman Impey standing behind the Collingwood forward, snuck up behind, but you come through the corridor. It is the quickest way home on offence, but it also gives you the best opportunity as a defensive team to turn the ball over in a dangerous spot.
Looking for his third at such an important time. And they now squeeze it out to 51 points.
Well, I guess they've got to challenge corridor if they're to win this game. So Impey knows they're probably likely to bite off the aggressive kick, but I just wonder if he's not really striking the ball, if he's not really punching it. Just seem to be just chipping the ball or looping the ball. That kick's got to get there quickly, and we know he can do it. We've seen him do it. This guy's a high caliber player, Dan Houston. He's just devoid of confidence at the moment. He's got to start hitting him hard, low and flat.
Let's see, in the corridor, Jack Crisp is out there for the switch. Doesn't have to be all corridor for Collingwood. You can't go too far away from your method of movement and your predictability. You still got to have multiple forms of offence.
Bruce, the unused sub for the Hawks. Newcomb, yet another centre clearance. Ambrosio have to stand underneath it. Lipinski affects the spoil. Pendlebury just soccers in front of himself. Now more accesses the footy right to the feet of Lipinski. Dacos clean as always. Ball to be won. Moore taps it out in the path of Pendlebury. Delays, goes cleverly. Towards Moore, who's caught with the footy. The Hawks' pressure comes again. This time it'll be on Nick Dacos. Behind the play the whole time, the Hawks there, but they kept the ball locked in.
So Meek. Eventually the Pies through Pendlebury. Sky ball. Myercheck set himself. Gets a free kick for a push in the back. Thinks about the drive by Nick Dacos sauntering past. There's now Myercheck. Spears one inside 50. Just a little bit hot for Long. And battle with the defensive mark, Eamon. Gonna spread it out to Chol, and Chol's got some space.
Speed's on the footy again tonight for the Hawks. Chol sends it down to Newcomb. He's got runners. They're open inside 50. They need to come in board, and they do. Amon did well. Meek was on his own for 50 metres, demanding the ball, and Lloyd Meek will line up for his third of the evening.
Luke Bruce is the sub for Hawthorn. They're just coming on now. We'll find out who's coming on for him.
So number 22 comes on as Lloyd Meek lines up for a third. Two contested marks in the second term. Saw him kick those two majors from 35 metres out. Meek trots forward. Meek has got three. Career best for Lloyd.
Well, he's been damaging Lloyd Meek. He's had a quiet month and been beaten in the ruck over the last few games, but tonight he's been fantastic getting ahead of the ball. Challenged by Darcy Cameron early. The Collingwood defence breaks down again, and it's Billy Frampton who had to make the decision. He was either going to take the man or sit off and not allow the space from behind. He's been caught on the heels a few times. And here, look at this. Sometimes as a rucker, just things go right for you. The ball from Carl Amon actually opened up the vision to where Lloyd Meek could run to. And the good little sizzle inside and a fantastic finish from Lloyd Meek. He's been fantastic tonight. 3 goals, but around the ground, excellent.
So Meek's the man in question. Watson will get a free kick here. Everything golden brown here at the moment. So Watson. Long searching ball. Scholl just nudged out of it. Maynard barging through, quick hands. Nick Dacos, Maynard to Goey, Maynard. Splendid run up the middle to Mitchell. Mitchell's kick off the side of the boot towards Myercheck. Myercheck, quick snap round the corner. It's offline, it's high, and it's out.
Kosher is the unlucky Hawk to be subbed off. He was subbed off last week as well.
Thanks, Eddie. So Luke Bruce comes in. First time since round 9. Sicily down towards Chol from the side. Newcomb, good aerialist. Mitchell, Moore worried him out of it. Bruce gets his first look at the footy.
Haven't seen Luke Bruce for a while. He's been playing sub for a good 18 months now. He want to have a good last quarter, cement his spot.
Cameron. Crisp looking to control it. Flicked it backwards. Grabbed by Nash. He flicks it towards D'Ambrosio. Crisp spoils him. Spilled out to side bottom. Short kick is delightful to Perryman. His little kick inside 50. Didn't get enough purchase on it. And now streaming out Sicily. All on his own is Lewis. He's in isolation. Goes towards centre half forward, but the kick was smothered by Moore. That was very clever. Lipinski on hands and knees to Maynard. And then Maynard springs it out to Membry. Here come the Pies again.
Goes inboard. Kicks it as far as Long. Drives the ball in the path of side bottom. And can still kick one. He had one opportunity from the pocket in game 350 that he missed. And his 14th disposal will be a second attempt.
Come on, Steele, it's your night. Give the fans something to cheer for. It's working up and down that wing all night tonight. It's been a good battle. It's Ambrosio.
26th player to make it to 350 games. Just the second high behind Pendlebury. On a tough night, side bottom. One of those nights for the Pies.
Final 30 seconds of the third term. Hardwick has the football. Hardwick to the contest. On the front spot was Cameron. Plainall eventually sees it out.
Just even there, the ball gets over the contest, and that only assists one team, and that's Hawthorn, with their speed running onto it. As you can see here, the turnover happened, and Mitch Lewis had the opportunity to be free. It was Jack Gunston just let up at the wrong time. But speed is hurting Collingwood.
DJI, 10 on the clock. Mitchell with a real high, up and under. Sicily will stand underneath it. Falls. Hawks try and kill it. Chris. Another dominant turn by the Hawks. They kicked 7 goals to 1 in the second term. In the third, they kicked 4 more goals to just 1 from Collingwood. It was Hawthorn by 6 at quarter time, 39 at half time. With their season on the line, the Hawks will go in at the final break, 14-5-89. All over the Pies, 4-9-33. The Hawks, 56 to the good. Thursday night footy on Fox.
You're watching Thursday Night Footy on Fox.
Well, there we go, folks. What can you say? But Hawthorn are continuing this shellacking they're doing of the mighty Magpies. I tell you what, 14-5, 89 the Hawks. Collingwood 4-9-33. 56-point margin here at three-quarter time, and it doesn't look like it's getting any better for the Pies. The Pies could only put on 1 goal 3 in that third term. The Hawks, well, 4 goals 2. They keep marching along. I tell you what. I don't know what to say about this. Collingwood are just absolutely horrendous tonight. It's like they don't even want to be out there. But it's certainly not like a team that's going to contend for this year's flag. On the other hand, Hawthorn, they're just playing their game. They're playing their roles. Everything falling into place for them. They seem to be a little bit cleaner with the ball. Although, I tell you what, Hawthorn has still got a fair bit to do to be a contender, I think, for the flag this year. I think they're still going to come up to the heights of Adelaide and Geelong. But, you can only do what you're doing, and what they're doing is pretty good out there at the moment, the Hawks. So, tonight's game is going to give them a lot of confidence, the Hawks, the way they're handling the ball, etc. like that, and a few of their players certainly doing well out there. Let's just have a quick look at the goal scorers there. We had a few more put on. Lloyd Meek, the big man for Hawthorn. There we go. Have a look at that. He's kicked 3 goals with Jack Gunston leading the way out there. Nick Watson with 2, with Child with 2, Jai Newcomb, Dylan Moore, Lewis and Kelshire, all singles there, Tino. Can you believe it? Can't believe this. Hey, Sheila, cheer. Make a shout out to the famous cheer. And for the Magpies, still just the 3 goal scorers. Brody Mychek with a couple, Lipinski and Goey with a single each. There we go. Top 6, all Hawthorn in the ball magnets out there this evening. Jai Newcomb, 22. Ginnivan, 21. Sicily, 20. Dylan Moore, 20. Ambrosia, 20. Josh Battle, 20. No Collingwood player in the 20s. The best is Nick Dacos for the Pies on 19. Tell you what, even he is fumbling the ball a little bit this evening. Tell you what, he's having an off game. Jack Crisp on 18. Houston, 17. Let me get down to that big man. Where is he? Down there for Hawthorn. Just want to have a look and see what the Rucks were doing. Darcy Cameron down there, 11 touches, 3 kicks, 8 handballs, 20 hit-outs, 2 clearances. I tell you what, Lloyd Meeks got his number this evening. He's only had 9 disposals, 7 kicks, 2 handballs, 6 marks, 3 tackles, 3 clearances, 29 hit-outs, 3 goals. Lloyd Meek absolutely having a ring-a-ding-ding game tonight. I think that's his highest tally off the boot for Lloyd Meek for Hawthorn tonight, so he's doing really well. There we go. All right, that's enough for me. Let's head back down to the ground We'll take you to the commentators, and then we'll roll into the final quarter where Hawthorn are big margin leaders at the moment, 56 points. Look, there's no chance the Pies can come back from this game, but I tell you what, they need to do something in this last quarter to try and take a little bit of momentum into next week's game. All right, let's head back down to the commentators where it's the Hawks by 56.
The big Speckies, and if he wasn't kicking goals in the goal square, Lloyd Meek, 2 strong marks, the big ruckman, 2 in the first half, 3 for the match. The Hawks up by 39 at the major break. Could the Pies come back? The Hawks had other ideas. Newcomb's had 22, kicked the opening goal of the third term, and the Hawks continue to run away. They kicked 7 goals to 1 in the second, 4 goals to 1 in the third, and they lead it at three-quarter time by 56 points down on the boundary. Brad Johnson and
well, that John Newcomb goal was fantastic. We were pumped, obviously, as you were kicking upstairs with the Wizard and his work. And Eddie, you liked it as well.
Yeah, I did. And as I said upstairs, he started the Hawthorn off today, kicking the 2 goals. And then just crummy ability, Jono. He gets to the right position, and he's probably the best in the competition at the moment. Just to see right there, that tap on to pick it up, to be clean, and give it off to his teammate, John Newcomb.
Well, he knows the opposition are going boundary side with spoil. He's just a smart player. He reads it perfectly.
And but not at 450, and he's crumbing up on the wing and just gunning forward.
Just having a look at Will Day walk out of the ground and get around the midfield and the obviously the leaders for the Hawks. Last week, everyone's going, that's the end of Hawks season. Will Day out injured, a key important player in the lineup. We understand that. But the way they've responded tonight, this Hawthorn midfield has been outstanding.
Well, a lot of other Hawthorn supporters would have been disappointed. Will Day came in, got injured. You know, he's the heart and soul of this football club, and they're like, oh no, what's to come? And for them to come out and make a statement like this on the MCG against the Pies, it's amazing.
Well, it's all about all the talk down here from the Hawks is let's finish this off. 4-quarter performance tonight.
It was an excellent third quarter, and it was the speed, and speed kills for Hawthorn, and they were able to, crucify the Collingwood Football Club here, and you can see exactly what it looks like. And this is a kick to contest from James Sicily, and the setup from all the smalls. So you can see 2 half forwards in Ginnivan and Watson. They get boundary side. There is a huge amount of space to work into here, and they just catch Collingwood offside. And from here, when they get forward, Nick Watson's pace tonight has simply broken apart the Collingwood defence. They don't exactly get a goal out of that one there, but that is a really good look at how the Hawthorn forwards are getting up the ground. That man, Jack Ginnivan, you can see on screen there, has been doing it. Luke Bruce comes in as a sub. He's got that in his wheelhouse as well. And at the moment, they are just burning Collingwood, running back to goal.
Hawks by 6 at quarter time, 39 at half time, 56 at three-quarter time. Final term on Fox Footy. Thursday night football. Meek won it down. Pendlebury goes with Nash and another ball up.
Meek with 3 goals. Nash, one arm held, but managed to get a kick forward. Mitchell will run onto it. Mitchell Lewis, kick smothered. Walton takes the contact, gets a little toe poke away. Schultz caught by Giath, back to Maynard. Pendlebury creates space, as he's done over 400 times. On to Crisp, who's playing 11 years of consecutive footy. In towards Elliott. Hardwick affects the spoil. Back to Sicily, and the Hawks have got a bit of space.
Newcomb. He's going to go down the boundary line, and eventually Pendlebury just taps it out.
Just looking at Watson and his ground ball work in the forward 50. 5 ground ball gets tonight. He's their fire starter. He's only had 1 game where he's had more than that in the last 18 months.
Hawks picked up 3.3%. The Pies have dropped 5.7%.
So Nick Dacos round the corner. Eamon. Busy as always tonight. Carl Eamon. So off the back flank to a contest. Meek to the side, Chol. Nash hoping for Impey. Move it off the floor. Eamon. Hardwick. And then out wide. Scrimshaw is going to sit up for him. Membry's there a couple of steps behind him. Scrimshaw working hard with Membry. It's a good little battle. Captain came in to assist Sicily. Back to Scrimshaw. That was really well thought out by the Hawks. Then Ginnivan's kick off the side of the boot. They can raffle it though. Eamon, Newcomb. His eyes darting everywhere, eventually kicks it straight inside 50. Up they go, off hands, Moore, spots Warple.
Great vision to kick it inside there. Dylan Moore, but multiple players fly, leaving Hawks at ground level. But excellent vision there by Dylan Moore. You can just see 3 players fly. Dylan Moore stays at the ground level, sees Warple probably well within his right to snap and have a shot there, Dylan Moore, but just excellent team play.
There's Warple, the best and fairest in 2019. Just glancing up at the screen, using every bit of that shot clock from 40. Straight and true, sails over the goal umpire's hat for his 4th goal of the year. He loves it, the teammates love it. And it's become a bit of an assassination here on a Thursday night.
Well, it has 15 marks inside forward 50 now, and it's just because of the options. And they're winning contest. Again, it's a ground ball inside their forward 50. So that's their 20th contested possession in the forward 50. It's a huge number. We've been waiting to see where the Hawthorn of 2024 had been, and it looks like it's resurfacing with the key components having big nights tonight. Watson got off to a flyer. Newcomb's been terrific. Probably his best game for 6 or 7 weeks.
Another look at the live ladder. Just 5 or 6 weeks ago, Collingwood 10 points clear on top now. They're dropping a percentage down into Gold Coast territory, so a lot on the line as the Hawks look to take a step towards September. Collingwood are in a bit of bother. Long ball forward. Impey affects the flight of the ball. So we're seeing tonight a game that's showing us more about Hawthorn, David, or more about Collingwood?
Oh, just the power of the Hawks. I think the power of the Hawks, and when they're in this sort of mood, hunting, they can do anything. They really can. I mean, they've just been dormant for a little while. The back 6 of the Pies will probably be the talking point, but a game without Howe, it's hard to be too negative.
Meek won it down. Quick kick, Jack Warple. And he's going to kick down the line. Frampton's going to meet it first with Gutson up the ground. Perryman gathers, and then Houston, touch of the fumbles. Able to mop up his mess, and then Perryman with a little dance around. And then kick to Pendlebury in the middle.
On the logo. In the middle. McStay sends the ball deep forward. Gee, that's a good mark coming back with a fly. He looked like he was going to be a touch under at Scrimshaw, but he held the mark and he's got the 50 against Elliott. The advantage is paid. It's opening up for the Hawks, but the kick just gets away. They've made a couple of errors, casual errors, the Hawks. Back towards Josh Dacos. Houston will be under pressure immediately. Ginnivan got him high. Couple of let-offs there for Collingwood.
Don't often see the 50-metre penalty advantage paid. I've not seen one of them all year, but it was there. It was Mitch Lewis, unfortunately, missed the kick. And Jack Ginnivan getting Dan Houston high.
And that sums up Collingwood's night. Frampton, an errant bounce, and he's kick up the middle. Opens the door here for the Hawks. Nick Dacos fighting for it on hands and knees. Warple did well. And then Nash back to Warple. Snap off a step. Hits Maynard instead. And his clearing kick, Pendlebury.
He's a big body, Connor Nash. 198 centimetres. Big man over the football. Nick Dacos is up to 20 alongside Chris. Newcomb's had 24 and a goal. Sicily 22 and Ginnivan the same. Inside 50s, the Hawks +6.
Cameron. Mitchell. Mitchell inboard. Maynard. Just no movement here at the moment. What's the next move on the chessboard? Centering kick. Up they go. Breaking free. Crisp at least trying to. Gets rid of it. Newcomb by hand. Ward slipped over at a crucial stage, but he got the handball away anyway. Impey. Nash. McDonald running hard with Impey. McDonald's kick inside 50. Only 2 players inside 50. And it's going to be Bruce. Bruce is going to get... Is he going to go free kick? He is.
He's so crafty, Luke Bruce. Just had Billy Frampton exactly where he wanted him. Had the body up. There was the free kick. Thought he might have played on here and potentially taken his advantage. Small in stature, but as smart as anyone out there tonight on that AFL football field.
So subbed on, the Hawks fans loving every minute of it. And we know he hasn't been able to convert.
He's having a stinker, Billy. He's just finding it hard to find the pace of the game after an absence.
He's been exposed deep as well.
Yeah.
Tall and small.
We used to be disappointed with a miss. Bread and butter stuff. Darcy Moore, defensive point of the square. Ambrosio has got a couple of pies to beat. Josh Dacos plays it superbly. And Membry has had a quiet night. He's got out the back of the Hawthorn defence. Membry's had 6 disposals. Elliott 4, Hoskin Elliott 4, and Ned Long 4. Three-time leading goal kicker at the Saints. 27 goals for the season. The first of the turn for the Pies. Brings it nicely. Yeah, good finish. Membry's on the board.
Got to get themselves going here, the Pies. Try and find a bit of rhythm in offence. Yep, this game might be blown, but still, it's got to feed into next week. Huge challenge. The Adelaide Crows on the road. They have to find a way to get through that defensive unit, which is going to be tough, but it's a good finish. Low percentage shot here. Just outside 50. Well done, Tim Membry.
Adelaide away, and then Melbourne at the MCG to finish their campaign leading into the finals. It's a tough trip next week, and they won't have Jeremy Howe with them either.
Percentage is going to become an issue for them too. I just like, it's moments like that from Tim Membry that are important because, I mean, one of the hardest road trips is Adelaide away. They've got to do that next week, and their percentage tonight has taken a big hit.
Down nearly 6% tonight, the Pies.
Slapped down by Cameron off the ground. Chris picked up by De Goey. Handball to Mitchell. Mitchell wide to Lipinski. Good pressure, D'Ambrosio. It wasn't 15. Crisp off a standing start. Can just wobble it towards Membry. Grabbed by Scrimshaw with composure. Eamon, D'Ambrosio. And then over the top he goes. They've cleared it beautifully here, the Hawks. Eamon to Impey, who loves to run. Tucks it under the arm as if he was heading towards the try line. Goes through the middle. Hands down to Nash. Kick inside 50 to Bruce. He's got Chol on his own. He's spotted him. And he's going to find him if he gets rid of Ginnivan.
I actually would have preferred Jack Ginnivan to mark that. We haven't seen a Ginnivan goal tonight.
You don't understand the discussion. 4 tools versus 3 tools. Marbior's not giving this up. No way.
About the speed of Impey through the middle of the MCG.
So good. So good.
It's exactly what Collingwood don't have at the moment, that speed. Jarman Impey's done it a few times tonight.
Wallabies needed him last Saturday night on this very ground. So what are we expecting here? Chol, he's kicked 2. He's kicking from about 45 metres on a similar angle. Comes in. It looks good. He's kicked 3. Marbior salutes the crowd. They love him.
I'm trying to tell you, Matty, he doesn't miss those. Jason Dunstan was spot on at half-time. I mean, you're never quite sure what you're going to get from Marbior Chol, but he's good. He's very good. And just look at this run. Let's appreciate what Impey was able to do here. He made it a pretty basic play after he'd done all the heavy lifting and drawn a crowd and opened up the corridor for Nash. Pretty simple play in the end.
I know Jack Ginnivan doesn't get that, but the work rate from Ginnivan as well. He's been the one that's come up lateral to contest. And I think this year has been a big stepping stone in the Marbior Chol career. He's become more predictable. I think we're getting more good Marbior than bad Marbior. I think some people were questioning whether he came back into the side after being found out. But he's been excellent again tonight.
36th goal for the season. Side bottom. Impey really clean. Tumbles it forward. Here he comes again. Chol versus Frampton. Anything could happen. Chol bends it around the body. Maynard, slight fumble. Bruce, head over the footy. Perryman, 150. Maynard. Back to Perryman. Elliott, quiet night. Squeezed little ball to Josh Dacos.
Dacos, little dance on the spot, kicks to a 50-50. Membry and Sicily. Good battle off hands. McDonald, then to Sicily. Into the middle. Meek. Back to the captain, who swings it out to Battle. And then Battle going to probe it forward. Ward to Ginnivan.
Can you tell it's a Hawthorn home game?
That's the former Pie. Getting a rousing reception over the head of Lewis. He's going to get a free kick for a push. So the Hawks can press again.
Number 2, formerly worn by Jared Roughhead, now on the back of Mitch Lewis. Charles deep. That's the direction in which it goes. Cameron, the key intercept mark, takes another one.
Yeah, good strong mark there by Darcy Cameron. Put himself in exactly the right spot.
Josh Dacos received the kick from Houston. Then that's it out to Mitchell, and then side bottom under pressure this time, and he knew as soon as he dropped it that he was on toast. Warple with the free kick.
Yeah, blindsided by James Warple, just snuck up behind him.
Now to Impey, being explosive tonight off half back. There's Jarman. Dunstan again in the goals, including his 50th for the season. He's kicked 3. Up to 52 now. Once again, looks to be just out of range. Buries one into the pocket. Spoil comes from behind.
So the Hawks have kicked 102 points. They've only scored 100 points once in the last 12 weeks. In fact, they've only done it 4 times for the year against North Melbourne, the West Coast, Essendon and Richmond. So this is the biggest scalp in terms of their offensive work tonight.
So Cameron down to Lipinski, and then Pendlebury, the loose football down the throat of Hardwick for the Hawks. Now Ward. So they press again at half forward. They're loving it out there. Moore. Short one to McDonald. So Connor McDonald can have a piece of the action here, looking for his 17th goal of the year. That man with some things to work out. So Connor McDonald gives it everything from 48 and through for a behind.
Hawks take on Melbourne next week and then Brisbane away to finish their home and away season. Collingwood Adelaide away, then Melbourne here at the MCG.
You can't underestimate the size of this win tonight, what it does for the Hawthorn Football Club. Pressure coming from everywhere.
We played a good game last week against the Crows, but were outgunned late by Tex Walker. Kicked the opening 2 tonight. Haven't looked back. 6-point leaders at quarter time, 39 at half time, 56 at three-quarter time. So currently they've won every quarter in front of 68,515 people.
So Scrimshaw goes along the wing. Shoal going for a fly was Lewis. Couldn't bring it down. Pendlebury. The lead as always. Nick Dacos. Cameron. Long. Pendlebury. Kick to the full forward. Hoskin Elliott. Couldn't quite. Schultz front and centre. Back he goes to side bottom. And Sidebottom's probing kick. Meyer check.
This is a stingy Hawthorn defence, though. It's marked nice and wide. Not out of the realms of possibility that Brody Mychek kicks this, but they just haven't given anything up in the corridor.
Getting some advice hard up against the fence. Looking for his third. Not the easiest of assignments. And he's given it a good chance, but just to the left.
Nick Dacos tonight, 22 disposals. So he still had plenty of the footy, but he hasn't cut the Hawks up. Kingy, how have they handled Nick, or is it just lack of possession for the Pies?
They've just been too slick with their on-ball brigade. I mean, it's 6 goals 3 to 1 goal 3 from clearance. They've stepped out, they've handballed out, and Nick's pretty much fought a one-man battle in the midfield. There's a lot of questions to be answered. Is it Long? Is it Mitchell? Is it even Pendlebury in there?
I feel like he spent a lot of petrol tickets on defence tonight too, Nick Dacos. And credit to him, he's the one that's been chasing.
Donald, Long only as far as Moore. As a little dash. The skipper. Scrimshaw. And what will be the number one question McRae's trying to answer during the week?
Where does our speed come from, I reckon?
Well, he knows McCreary and De Goey's going to get fitter. I mean, they're the two speed options that go into the middle. You combine that with Nick, you get pretty quick, pretty easily. I think the midfield mix is the biggest challenge.
With Dacos, side bottom. A chip out to the wing. Maynard has an option up forward. Schultz, and then a fist with interest. Hardwick into the second row.
As we've talked about, Nick's been over 40% of their scoring for the last 7 weeks. And everyone says, well, that's great because Nick's that sort of player. But you need a greater spread. You need more midfield contributors. And I know Pendlebury will end up with 7+ tonight in terms of score involvements, but just hasn't had anyone really step up in there. I'm just not sure where you're going with Mitchell, with Long. Challenges everywhere.
Such a great start to the season, Long. He's had a tough night tonight. Started a sub, came on early. He's had 7. AFLW next Thursday night, 6:30 on Fox. Impey, another piercing run through the middle. Frampton will come from behind. Courage from Bruce. He got crunched, stood up in it. Gunston with 3. Tries to manage something from the boundary. What a year the number 19 he's having. He's got 4, and the Hawks are dominating the Pies.
There's a risk attached to everything. It's down a little bit like a broken record on Billy Frampton tonight. He was the one that made the decision to come up. If you're going to impact that contest, you've got to get it out of the vicinity. Jack Gunston sits in behind, plays the percentage game, knowing that offensively, if you sit forward and it bounces your way, you're a big chance. And this is the run to September for the Hawks. They needed to win one of tonight or the Brisbane game in round 24. Tonight easily covered, but importantly both these sides play Melbourne coming home, and they can have a big say in what the finals makeup does look like. Are the Pies even a chance to miss?
He's like a hitter trying to hit his way out of a slump at the moment, Frampton. He's just going for everything and it's not paying off.
There's Jeremy Cameron leading the Coleman, as you saw, 24 hours ahead. He'll be heading to that tally and possibly 100 if when they play finals. So De Goey driven into the ground. And it's going to be a free kick to Collingwood eventually.
What's the line on Jeremy Cameron tonight v the Bombers tomorrow night?
7.5 at half time.
Quaynor kicks good to Schultz.
You'd love to see him get a big bag tomorrow, Jeremy, just to really sneak in around the 100. We haven't seen it for a long time.
Good kick. It's been tough work in the forward 50 for the Pies tonight. Good work from Quaynor.
So Schultz, 7th year in the AFL, comes in and puts it through. Schultz kicks his 10th goal for the year. He kicked 24 last year for the consolation prize for the Pie.
And a lot of quality access coming in the Pies, in fairness to them. There's been a little bit long down the line and slow. That kick there was just perfect, exactly what they needed. 9 marks inside 50 now for the Pies. They've been brilliant in the air, the Hawks defenders, just always there. Got exactly what they wanted out of Barris and Battle tonight. Sicily's back in good form. Made it hard work for the Pies holding the ball.
And Scrimshaw's been good behind the ball tonight as well.
Meeks had a night too against Cameron. He's kicked 3 goals as Lloyd. Taking some big contested marks. And Watson was racing through that centre bounce clearance. Couldn't get a handle on it. Impey, another great night. Newcomb looks back to his best, puts Warple under a bit of pressure. Back to Impey. McDonald now into the hands of Battle. Impey hasn't got the required distance, nor will that be. Eamon tried to bluff the umpire, knew it wasn't the distance. Quaynor was aware and awake. Turnover, Josh Dacos. Having kicked 2 in a row all night, the Pies. Barris just puts a bit of body pressure on Membry. Manages to bring it to ground. Nash, hard man to tackle.
And he slips the tackle and straight to Ginnivan. And into the corridor. Ward. Up the middle to Boost. Little chip out wider. Just playing around here, the Hawks at the moment.
Sicily snuck forward.
Long ball towards Sicily, off hands Gunston for a behind.
And Sicily came from the bench there and saw an opportunity to get forward. But the Hawks have had a tendency late to throw a back forward. Jarman Impey's done it and kicked goals. Maybe James Sicily's doing that now.
So with this run off the road for Collingwood, 4 of the last 5 games losses, are you genuinely concerned now about the Pies?
Oh, genuinely concerned, yeah, and I think they would be too. 46 points, their most important piece in the back half, not playing for them, injured tonight.
Side bottom stripped to the footy. Away the Hawks go again through Watson. McDonald's got work to do to get through. Pendlebury kicks to space, and that space is being filled by Sicily. Drops it back by hand. Nash has got options inboard. Goes a little chipping Gaelic style of footy. Gunston lays one into the path of Eamon. He's got players ahead again. D'Ambrosio up and down that wing all evening. Runs his measure, takes a little bit off. Their kick was magnificent to Bruce. And Hawks fans would love to see 3-time premiership Hawk nail one.
Hell's your best player at this stage of the year. There's absolutely no doubt about that. When you're missing McCreary, Howe, it just makes such a difference. We talked a lot about Will Day not being there for the Hawks. Start of the night.
306 games as a rookie, and he's made a mess of that. Extraordinary from Bruce. Got the footy. Collingwood could send them back the other way. To go, he's got men forward of the footy. Sicily's done really well to turn his back, so have eyes on the football before the contest came. And he got him out of a big hole there, did the skipper.
Oh, that's incredible by James Sicily there. With Luke Bruce the other end. Looked like he really went to take a bounce. The Sicily just got back and read the ball perfectly.
That is an incredible score.
It's amazing.
Newcomb, 50 seconds left. Sicily. Couple of bounces. Out in question, Ginnivan. Hurried kick in the end. It's chopped off by Long, who has a man all on his own in McStay. McStay can have an amble and a bounce inside the final 30 seconds. Penetrating ball to the top of the square. Membry scrapping for it. Doesn't earn himself a free kick or a mark, and D'Ambrosio can clear to McDonald. Hawks just lapping all of this up.
They've won every term, the Hawks. 6:39, 56 now, 64 points. Beaten by Adelaide last week. Needed to pull something out tonight, and they have. Big win for the Hawks. A big step towards September. 64-point winners. And on Thursday night footy, it's all about the brown and the gold. Hawks by 6 at quarter time, 39 at half time, 56 at the final break. In the end, 64-point winners. Gunston, another 4. Chol, 3. Lloyd Meek with a career high 3. Newcombe with 28 in the goals. Outstanding aim on 27. Ginnivan again amongst the footy, 27. Pendlebury, 27. Nick Dacos, 24. And in game number 350, Steele side bottom, 18 disposals. The Hawks have answered a few questions tonight. There'll be a lot posed about the black and the white.
Yeah, plenty posed for Collingwood. I think tonight leaves Craig McRae scratching his head, trying to think about what the best mix looks like for them. Hopefully going into September, or certainly in these last 2 home and away games, their midfield mix, what does that look like? I mean, there, Jordan Ngoe, still not at full fitness. They'd love to have him out there playing a full 100 minutes in the midfield, but Hawthorn tonight, just blistering. This is the best we've seen the Hawks this year. This is their best performance on the MCG. And a lot of questions have been asked about the 4 key forwards. Carl Shadir gets subbed out again. Thought he was really good. Mabior Chol had a fantastic game. But this veteran here, who joins Brad Johnson, has kicked 50 goals this season and another 4-pack for the superstar Jack Gunston.
Jack, he has been on fire throughout the entire season, and Jack, another great performance by yourself. Well done tonight.
Oh, thanks, mate. It was full credit to the midfield. We knew it started in the middle. They're a quality team. Got some superstars in there, and I thought Miki was huge. Thought Nuke was massive, and to get a front half game, it makes the job easier for us forwards. It
was especially huge for Nuke. We know he was involved in that big contest with Jeremy Howard. Obviously, I know your thoughts will be with Jeremy as well, but he was able to bounce up from that, go get tested, come back on and have a real influence.
Yeah, and obviously feeling for Jeremy. He's a ripping guy, and I hope he's doing all right. But we spoke about being tough, and it was a fair contest, and Nuke set the tone for the rest of the group, and that's what we spoke about midweek, and we knew they were coming off a five-day break, and we just wanted to keep running all day.
Especially with Will Day on the sidelines. Talk all week, Will Day's out of the midfield. That's your midfield done. They stood up tonight.
They did, and Wolves was good. I thought Wardy just keeps improving every week, and then you got Wiz going through there, terrorising a few people. So, look, it's good. It was better than last week. It was, we've let a lot of sort of leads at three-quarter time slip, so we wanted to keep putting the foot down. I thought we did tonight.
Was it nice to have your old mate back out here as well? I saw you stand up when he had a set shot and missed. Got bruised going around the stadium again.
Yeah, I love having him in. He's a ripping guy, and he's taught away a bit this year. It hasn't gone to plan, but it's good to see him back. And I don't know what he did on the 50 there, but I turned around and he's dropped the ball. So I'm sure that'll be on the blooper reel this week.
Well done on a super performance and onwards and upwards towards finals. Congratulations.
Cheers, Jono. Thanks, mate.
Thanks to Brad and Jack. There won't be too much else on the blooper reel for the Hawks. They started a percentage of 117.6, so that's headed north. Collingwood's has dropped, but this is a team 6 weeks ago, they're 10 points clear on top of the ladder. Jack, now they've dropped 4 of their last 5.
And there is a world where Collingwood potentially miss finals with the hit of the percentage here tonight and the run home is that, I mean, it makes the Melbourne game really important. Obviously Adelaide next week, where you think they'd go in certainly underdogs in that game against the Crows team at home that have smash sides over there at Adelaide Oval. Great to see this, both sides lining up. This opportunity to chair off Steele side bottom, no doubt Jeremy Howe would have been lifting Steele if he had the opportunity. One of his great mates, but the 26th player in AFL, VFL history to play 350 AFL games. An incredible achievement. A 2-time premiership player, 2-time All-Australian, and a champion of our game.
Just the second pie to do it, alongside the first pie, Scott Pendlebury. Tough night for Steele. 18 disposals, 13 and 5, and a couple of behinds. And they head to Adelaide to take on the top of the table team.
Yeah, and I'll say that there is a world that they could miss finals, and there is a mathematical possibility that could happen. But I mean, they need to put in a better performance next week against Adelaide. It is important. The Gold Coast, you can see their percentage. They've got that extra game in hand as well, so that throws them right into top 4 calculations. Hawthorn, now their percentages has certainly come up over the last month. I do think that this is the best we've seen Hawthorn play this year. Josh Weddle's in the stand. He's a chance to come back this season. We know we won't see Will Day. So pretty much what we've seen tonight, bar Josh Weddle, is the best Hawthorn are going to look. The way they played tonight, you think they could challenge anyone. The speed of ball, especially from half-back, was incredible. Jarman Impey was fantastic. James Sicily is back at his best. Josh Battle is exactly the player they thought they were getting. 26 disposals. Josh Ward snuck under the radar, 11 score involvements as well. So plenty to like from a Hawthorn point of view.
Big win for the Hawks and a nice big post-game wrap led by the superstar that is Sarah Jones. Sarah.
Thank you very much, Howie. It was an incredible win by the Hawks, a gutsy win considering what was on the line, and what a time to produce their best footy of the year. They completely outplayed Collingwood, who have now lost 4 of the past 5. We'll have a deep dive on that. But Jason Dunsell, David King and Lee Montagna, the Hawks' finals campaign is back on track.
It is, and I agree with Jack. I think that's the best that they've performed all year. There looked to be some real solidarity across the board. They attacked when they had the opportunity. They looked efficient going forward. When they make the most of those inside 50s, it makes such a difference to the Hawks. They don't get then beaten and hurt on the counter-attack. So I thought it was pretty comprehensive. And I guess the weakness that I perceive in their makeup is the midfield really stood up tonight.
Yeah, we didn't get the Thursday night thriller that we were hoping for, Sarah. We still can't get one, but it did flip the season on its head for me. When you take a look now, there are some real concerns with Collingwood going into a game next week against the Adelaide Crows. Can they bounce back? And Hawthorn, I agree with the guys. It's their most impressive win of the season. They needed to really take a scalp against the top 8 team. They'd only won a couple of games, which were arm wrestles in Tasmania against the Giants and Adelaide. But to do this on the MCG with some offensive prowess, which I wanted to see from them. I wanted to see if they could score against one of the better defences in the competition. We know that Hawthorn can defend and apply pressure. They've been really consistent. But to do that tonight, yeah, they've made a statement.
There's nothing better for a football club to leave trauma behind. And Collingwood now are in a flat spin with their defensive 50 work, which is their best midfield mix. I don't know. There's question marks now. We've talked about the heavy reliance on Nick Dacos. You can avoid that answer all you like, but it's obvious for all of us to see. And Jace, I hate to say it, but they're back. Your boys are back.
I'll tell you what was pleasing. I think from a Hawthorn perspective, to see the continued resurgence of James Sicily. I mean, when you put him alongside Barris and Battle and Scrimshaw down back, they're so good in the air. They're winning one-on-one contests. They rebound well. They look really good behind the footy again, and I think that's incredibly important. Having Sicily playing well, I just think it rubs off so much on his teammates.
They're leaders. I mean, if you go leaders versus leaders, they were awesome tonight. When you absolutely had to have it, Joey, you can go through the Hawthorn lineup, but Newcomb stood up. Sicily stood up. Battle and Barris, they're leaders down there now. They stood up. And it allows the lesser lights to float in and out of the game.
Yeah, great call. And on the flip side, Collingwood, 20 plays with 100 games, but they look rudderless, really, with their leadership on what they were trying to do throughout the game. They couldn't problem solve. They couldn't work out how to stop Hawthorn and how they could challenge themselves. But I thought the midfield, Jason, of the Hawks, you mentioned it there. We thought it was going to be maybe an area that Collingwood could exploit them, but led by John Newcomb, I thought they were sensational in the coalface tonight. For him to bounce back the way he did, to outscore Collingwood by 30 points, their second best return for the year. They threw some other names in there, Kingy, which we'll touch on, but, Ward and Nash, they just do enough. They did enough, and Lloyd Meek led the way. He was brilliant in the ruck.
Well, those two there that you can see in the picture on the graphic, John Newcomb, that's one of his best games of the season. Well, that's why he won the best and fairest last year. He was playing like that on a weekly basis. And Lloyd Meek, well, I thought that was a masterclass from him. We know how good Darcy Cameron's been all year, taking the intercept marks and working forward and working back. But for Meek to push forward and kick 3 goals, as well as doing what he did around the ground in his hit-out work, where you can see the effect that it had in terms of hitting the scoreboard.
Let's talk about the big man, Lloyd Meek. His work in the air, Jace, was exceptional. 7 marks, and some of them at really pivotal points on the goal line where he was able to go back and kick them. He was such a presence.
I love it. He pushed forward, and that's just a good one-on-one strength battle with Darcy Moore, and then clean hands. Importantly, when you get those opportunities, big blokes don't always kick straight. He did. Here's another one. It's a long shot for goal that doesn't quite get there. He's just clamping. It's like a vice when he gets his hands on the ball. He's got baseball mitts for hands and just clamps it. And I thought he was outstanding. And this one, I thought he was going to get missed, but when he steps back inside Carl Oman, you can't miss the big fella there. He pushed forward once again into dangerous space and good enough to go back and finish.
Something about a good big man when they go forward, Jason. It just drives the team. He looks like an infectious character, you know, one of those guys that's always got a smile on his face and just a sheer competitor.
And I reckon he had a little bit of a lull through the middle part of the year. He started the year really well. There were some early conversations about, you know, being in the All-Australian mix, and then just struggled a little bit. But he's bounced back, and as I said, he was sensational. He led the way. He was physical around the ruck contest as well, and to be able to kick the 3 goals made a huge difference.
Joey, what does this do for their confidence? We know that they play their best footy when they're a bit cheeky, a bit brash, and they'll score a lot from this.
Yeah, they will. And I think we saw last year, they are at their best when they do have that swagger and that confidence almost bordering on arrogance. It brings out the best of them. And, you know, when we've seen them slightly off, they just haven't had that same sort of presence. So I wonder now, with Sicily back in elite form and Ginnivan and Watson doing their thing, and, you know, you look at Marbion Child and Giath, and maybe they can just carry this on now and do something similar, Kingy, to what they did at the back end of last year.
I think they've got to attack, Chase. I feel like they've played within themselves. This is the first time they've scored 100 points against a good quality opposition. They've done it against the bottom 4 teams in the competition, and that's it for the year. So the second time in 12 weeks they go 100 plus. I like them in this mode.
I thought there was good balance. Sometimes they were circumspect with the footy. They held it up if they didn't see something that they liked. But then when they had the opportunity to move it quickly, whether by foot or by hand, they had some good run and they used the corridor a number of times. It looked really dangerous.
Kingy, you called it a virtual elimination final before the game. You reckon this song's going to be sung with a bit of gusto? Let's head to the rooms. So next up.
All right, folks, there we go. Game, set, match. Hawthorn way too strong for the Pies tonight. 17-8, 110 the Hawks, kicking over the 100. Pies 6-10-46. Pies putting on 2 goals, 1. In the final term, the Hawks continuing on their way, 3 goals, 3. Winning every quarter of the game this evening. Hawthorn were, well, let's just not say, they were fantastic tonight. They did everything required and more. All departments of theirs certainly stood up. Hey, let's have a look at the goal scorers and the stats after the game, see how your players polled. And we're looking at Jack Gunston, ended up with 4 goals for this evening, topping the table for the Hawks. Lloyd Meek, Chol ended up with the 3 each, Watson with 2, Warple, Newcomb, Moore, Lewis, Kelshadir, all singles. To the Magpies, we only had very few. Brody Mychek with 2 goals, Membry, Lipinski, and Jordan DeGoey with a single. For your ball magnets out there tonight, and of course, John Newcomb topped the table there for Hawthorn on 28. 10 kicks, 18 handballs, 5 marks, 2 tackles, 7 clearances, and a goal. Another great game from him. Scotty Pendlebury next best for the Maggies on 27. Definitely one of the best there for the Magpies out on the ground with Scotty Pendlebury today. Used the ball pretty well. A lot better than, well, the rest of the Collingwood players did. Jack Ginnivan, Cullimon, 27 for the Hawks. Sicily, 26 with Battle. Moore and Impey both on 25. Nick Dacos, next best there on 24 for the Magpies. But as you can see, 7 of the top 8 were all from Hawthorn, the ball magnets. They just, well, they tore the Pies apart. And of course, I know M. King, you're talking about speed is what Captain Sporty Pants, how you going? Yeah, the Hawks did really well tonight. Look, it's what you got to do when you're coming into the finals. 3 games to go. Well, they've got 2 more games to go, of course, the Hawks. But they look set to play finals, you would think, this season for sure. We'll have a look at the ladder in just a moment. I'm just rolling down the stats there. Watson ended up with 14, just still with his 2 goals. I think he kicked those 2 in the opening term. To go, he won 1. That's all he got, 15 disposals. That got a little bit of the ball. Who else did we get there? Well, Jack Gunston, he was pretty good. I tell you what, he might be getting on, but geez, well-experienced player there for Hawthorn down forward. 11 touches, 8 kicks, 3 handballs. He took 5 marks and kicked 4 straight. I tell you what, he always kicks straight. I'm not sure of his goals to points this year, but it's absolutely fantastic. Just looking at the team stats overall as we just load them up. Better luck next time for the Pies. Thanks, Cheer. Yeah, I'm sure. Well, you know what? After seeing that game, I'm tipping the margin could be even greater next week when they play Adelaide. Well, it was 75 disposals plus 2 Hawthorn. Pure domination there. Inside 50s. Look, both teams got opportunity. Hawthorn was certainly more dangerous when they went inside forward 50. They just made it happen. 50 inside forward 50s for the Hawks, 44 for the Magpies. Disposal efficiency, Hawthorn was right up this evening at 77.7. That's a really good percentage on their disposal efficiency for the end of the match. Collingwood on season average, but the efficiency inside 50 for the Hawks, that's really good percent, 58. Look, anything above 50 is pretty good, and that's what they did tonight. Free kicks, Hawks had a couple more than the Pies, 20-18. Look, it was a reasonably well umpired game, I think. All pretty much fair, square, and above board. I probably only saw 1 or 2 that were ticky-touch, probably weren't really there, but look, overall, a reasonably good day by the umpires umpiring this game. Hit-outs, it was Hawthorn by 10 in the hit-outs. 5 in the clearances. Magpies actually got back on top in the centre clearances, 12-13. They were +1 there, but Hawthorn were pretty good around the stoppage clearances, up +6, 23-17. Just looking at the contested possessions, it was +18 to Hawks. Pies came back a little bit, but Hawks still well and truly in control of this game in every quarter of the 4 quarters. Uncontested, +56. Turnovers, 59 apiece. Certainly got a little bit higher after half time, but all squared up there. Just looking at the marks there. There we go, +33 to the Hawks in the marks. Marks inside 50. 18 is a fantastic number for the Hawks. 18 marks inside forward 50. I tell you what, their midfields, they'll pinpointing their forwards beautifully. Lace out with some of their kicks there. That's the way you like it. The Magpies could only afford 9 marks inside their forward 50. And of course, Hawthorn stronger in the air. Contested marks 9-4. We go down and have a look at the tackle count. And remember, I was saying this at half time. Tackle count was just extremely low for both sides. 37-42. Magpies were +5 on the tackle count. Hawks slightly better inside 50 at 6-3. But that tackle count, folks, going forward, both of these teams, they need to be up and around their season average. They don't want to be under that. They need to be up and around 60, minimum 60 for the games ahead, and especially coming into finals. Finals are a whole different game. That is just pure pressure come the finals. They've got to get their pressure and tackling going, both sides here. If they both make it. Of course, the ladder, let's check out that ladder. Now, if we have a look where Hawthorn started, down there in 7th on 117.6 their percentage, Collingwood at 130. Let me just kick over this live ladder. Let's reload that up. Now we see Hawthorn jump up into 5th spot, 121.2 now. They picked up about 4%. Tonight. That's fantastic effort. They're up and around near the Gold Coast Suns, go well clear of Fremantle and the GWS Giants in percentage. That could be a telling factor come the end of the home and away season where Hawthorn end up sitting on the ladder. It's just so important having a look at these teams all on 60, 60, 58. The 58 doesn't really count because there's a draw in there. But if you look at Geelong, Hawthorn, Fremantle, Gold Coast and the Giants you expect to win, all around that, the percentage will definitely come in. Of course, Collingwood still on 60 points, still remain in second position, but not for too much longer because we're definitely expecting Geelong to win. The only good thing that Collingwood can hope for, is Brisbane and Geelong get beat. There we go. That's the best scenario for them. Possibly Fremantle get beat as well. And that'll keep them locked in for, hopefully a top 4 position, but you never know. So there we go. So Hawthorn's made a big leap tonight. Absolutely fantastic stepping stone for their season with only 2 rounds to go. They certainly do look set now. You would imagine they only have to win 1 more and they will play finals football this year. And, of course, that all depends if the teams under them all win their games as well. As I said, folks, next week, these 2 teams, we're going to find out who they're playing. Hawthorn, well, you think they would come away with a victory next week. Of course, next Saturday afternoon, we've got Hawthorn taking on Melbourne at the MCG. That's a 4:15 game here in Melbourne. It's a game you'd think the Hawks would win and could quite possibly climb the ladder even further. And, of course, next week for the Magpies, I tell you what, they thought Hawthorn was tough. Well, next week, folks, they're going to travel over to Adelaide Oval. They're playing top of the league ladder Adelaide Crows next week. Adelaide are in absolutely fantastic form. They are definitely the team to beat this year, Adelaide Crows. So the Pies have got to come up against the Crows next week. I don't see it getting any easier for the Pies next week. I tell you what, this would want to be an absolute mirror image of the way they've been playing over the past 4 or 5 weeks of Magpies to even give Adelaide a little bit of a scare next week. But that's happening 7:35 p.m. next Saturday night. We'll certainly cover that game because that is a huge game. And, of course, we've got some other cracking games coming up this week. This week should be pretty well straightforward, you would imagine, in some of the games in this round 22. But certainly next week it's going to be all chopping and changing. That is for sure, because next week Gold Coast take on Giants. Freo will take on Brisbane. That's just a couple of games coming up next week. But don't forget, coming up this week, folks, we got the rest of the games coming up. Of course, Geelong are taking on Essendon tomorrow night. Brisbane will take on Sydney Saturday. Carlton will take on Gold Coast Saturday night. And Port Adelaide Fremantle Saturday night. You would expect straightforward wins by the top sides there. The Giants will take on North Melbourne. Western Bulldogs will take on Melbourne. And Adelaide will take on the West Coast Eagles. So you would think a lot of the teams in that top 8 should continue to climb up that ladder and cement themselves. Thanks, Lang. Hey, Tino, see you in tomorrow's game. Yeah, look, I think maybe tomorrow I might be doing the game tomorrow. Not 100% sure yet, folks, what games we'll be covering over this weekend. You'll just have to stay tuned and see when I'm going live. I'm not 100% sure yet how much footy I'll actually do this week, but we'll see what we can get on board for everyone. But thanks, everyone. I tell you what, we did have the vote in today. I know we got this one wrong today. We had Collingwood 53%, Hawthorn at about 47%. So it was super close, but we certainly got that one wrong tonight. I'm sure tomorrow night the vote will be pretty well spot on, and I reckon that'll be at about 85% for the Cats to get up over the Bombers. And, of course, I think they're playing that down there at GMHBA Stadium, so it'll be a big Geelong crowd down there. Certainly should be a packed stadium, and I think they'll be searching for a Jeremy Cameron. They'll be wanting to direct the ball to him as often as possible because he is in line to end up kicking 100 goals for the season. We're anticipating that in the finals period at some time he'll do that. I think it could be a little bit of a stretch to get him there this before the finals. I think he's still got about 27, 28 goals to go, somewhere around there to get to his 100. But you just never know. He could probably just about kick a bagful tomorrow night against the Bombers for sure. And, of course, they got a couple of weaker sides. But tonight, they were just too good, the Hawks. Look, every player out there, every player stood up. They had speed on the ball. They were a lot cleaner on the ball. They got belief back, Hawthorn. They got belief back. And when you got the belief, folks, when you got the belief like Hawthorn have got right now in that young side, I think that can take them a fair way. It'll be interesting, though, if they can get their spot in the top 4. I think that's what they'll be looking for, that is for sure. Get that double chance. But as I said, all teams are fighting for that double chance. It's going to be tough. I tell you what, if you finish top 4, I think you'll be playing a away game against, I would imagine, Adelaide Crows and probably Geelong. They'll probably be your 2 teams that finish 1-2 at the end of the season. So, tell you what, it's a little bit of a toss up. Who you want to play in the finals? And I tell you what, it could come down to the last home and away game of the season. You know, whether you want to win or lose and who you want to play, it gives you that opportunity. Well, especially for the last team or 2 that are going to play in that final round. But yeah, wow, that's going to be super duper interesting. All right, folks. Hey, that's all I've got for this one. Thanks everyone for coming on in, tuning on in. Commiserations to all the Collingwood supporters out there. Better luck next week. I tell you what, it's only a week turnaround before the Pies play again. Well, it's about an 8-9 day break, so that'll be good. Hopefully Jeremy Cameron's okay there. We saw him getting carted off into hospital. He'll probably have a few tests and that with that big clash in the opening 2 minutes of the game. Of course, Jeremy Cameron had a clash of heads, got knocked out, and was subbed out of the game at the about 1:40 mark of the opening term. It was just a football accident. No malice there from the Hawthorn players. Just one of those things that happened. Both players going in for the ball, coming in opposite direction, and they just clashed like. I tell you what, it's like when you just hit a brick wall. Bang! One of them came off worse for wear, and of course that was Jeremy Howe there for the Magpies. So that certainly threw their defence out for. Pretty much the entire game there, and the Hawthorn sort of took advantage of that situation with one of the key backs out of the game. It was certainly allowed to tear Collingwood apart, especially with a lot of their speed in the game. Collingwood flat-footed in most portions of the game. They just seemed to be playing ahead of the ball. Really, really well tonight, Hawthorn. They look really good, folks. They look really good. If you're a Hawthorn supporter, you should be pretty happy where they've come, where they are at the moment, because things are certainly looking up. And it's the right time of the year for your team to be playing well, to be playing with confidence, to be improving week by week and looking up. As I said, Hawthorn are doing their job absolutely fantastic. They certainly put in a fantastic 4-quarter effort this evening. Well done, Hawks. Commiserations, Pies. But, folks, thanks again. That's all I got for this one. We're going to head on out now, and hopefully we'll see you at another game over the weekend or Friday night football or Saturday or Sunday, one of those days. But until next time, ciao for now. We'll see you at the next game.